feel like we're back. I don't
Can
know what
you
happened,
see
guys.
us?
Blue screen, literal blue screen of death. No idea what just happened.
Yay!
No idea what just happened. I apologize. Let's make sure we get the raffle back.
Oh,
Everybody's going to have to re-enter because we do have a giveaway, I do believe.
we do.
Sorry, folks. I looked up.
Don't do it yet. He hasn't started it again yet. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on.
There you go.
Hang on. Okay.
Another raffle.
Go now.
We are up there. Feel like blue screen of death for no good reason at all. Oh well. Back up and run.
Sounds off. Can you hear me? Can't hear Jason.
What?
So they can't hear you.
Oh, because my mic is over. Sorry, I undid my mic.
Oh, he had to turn the fan up.
We've literally never had a blue screen of death. I don't know. That's a bad sign. I wonder if we got like a memory problem or something. Maybe that's why the computer is dying. It's our newest computer. Well, not anymore. Jen got a new one. All right. Sorry, folks. We're back. We're back. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Ah.
All right, we got the center of that. I feel like we're good on the belt. Maybe right in here we need to get a little bit of color.
Well,
right in between
huzzah,
the
I'll
rings
just
that
throw
hold
back
it
my
onto.
legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Blavala. Blavala. Thank you for the sub.
Welcome. Thank you. That Twitch Prime sub. Lavala, welcome. Thank you so much. Sorry we disappeared on you guys there. All right. So that gives us a good start. We still got to do the shins, and the shins are going to be some of the more difficult part. That's probably why I'm taking them and forgetting them.
Snowbucks. Armin's.
What's that? What?
Armin's typed in snailbucks, and I was just saying slowbucks.
Slow box.
Slowbucks.
Everybody refresh. Maybe somebody type in chat, refresh, we're back. If people didn't leave, sometimes the stream won't come back up automatically. They will have to refresh their browsers and all that. I hate when that happens. It pisses me off. But that one was our fault, not Twitch. Our computer didn't die because of anything other than
weird.
its own self throwing a fit.
Weirdo.
I got an error on the end of my brush. Top of the shins here. I was literally just painting away, and I heard the music be like as the computer locked up. And I was like,
yeah, the screen just went.
that doesn't
black.
look good. Yeah, I saw the screen go black, and chat was gone. I was like, what's going on? And then it went, and then the blue screen frowny face popped up. Cross our fingers. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. All right. A little brightness on the top of the shin there. Again, always leaving shadow, leaving that dark umber up against any other material that comes in contact with the gold, right? So that I get that shadow from the knee into the metallic like that. It's even those small spaces, it makes the biggest difference. If you paint one color right up to face another color, blue into golden brown, you lose a dimension there. You have the opportunity with the burnt umber to leave a little bit of line of color there, even though it looks like black, right? But that's all burnt umber in there, or deep blue and purple from the pants, but it gives you that nice shadow in between where pieces fall without you having to go paint those lines in, which is always a pain in the ass and never quite looks right. All right? Now on the underside of this shin plate, what I want to do is I want to take the golden brown and work it from up underneath here and bring it down to where the brightest area is going to be down here at the bottom. All right, so notice how my stroke is going to go from the top of what is the top of the shin plate down to the bottom. Like so, leaving that blend or that fade where it goes darker up at the top. Do the same thing for each of these plates. Go ahead and, even though this one's only a couple of millimeters thick, I'm using the side of the brush here, and I'm just kind of making this stroke go from about 3/4 of the way up the panel down to the edge. Again, leaving that dark spot where the other panel above it overlaps. I don't want to push paint all the way up in there. I just want paint right here on the edge. like so. All right, and notice how I get that shadow between the plates still. You can see it right there. I'm not putting any paint there. Now, some people say, but Fuse, the model casts its own shadow. Why do you got to worry about it? Well, it will until somebody picks the model up and turns it like this to see how you painted it, and the light gets shoved up in there, and now there's no shadow. You leaving the shadow there on purpose solves all those problems, puts you back in control. So if somebody does ever pick your model up, turn it upside down, left and right and whatever, your paint's going to look the same no matter what. Okay. I've got those 3 plates done. Do the same thing over here. Same thing, top to bottom on these. Now these on the outside of the leg, I don't feel like we're going to make them any brighter than the other side. Maybe a little bit down below. We want the top to be just as dim. We might put a little bit more brightness on this outside corner.
Up just.
Thank you, babe. Keeping me in line. So again, work the paint down from the top where we want it to be darkest because of the position of the leg. Now, it's not always that you're going to find a shin plate that needs to be this way. Remember that. You might grab the next bird that you paint, bird samurai you paint, and his shin plate's all stuck out in front and needs to be done bottom to top, or, you know, you'll figure it out. This one, because of the position of the leg, is going to be darker up top than it is on the bottom. All right, so like that. Same thing on these.
Oh yeah. When did? I mean, we're at 21 out of 20 subs.
We already did the 20 sub giveaway. I just didn't reset the ticker.
Okay.
Yeah, we did the 20 sub giveaway on Wednesday. It's like I got a doodad, like a piece of something on the model there. So we did this one a little bit brighter towards those outside corners. That's all right. I'm liking it. As a matter of fact, to match that, I'm going to push a little bit more brightness up here on this panel just because it's kind of on that same edge. So just a little bit more on these edges up here. Balance that out. Make sure I get these edges. These we're going to go top to bottom on and just have the bottom kind of have a little bit, just like we did the fronts. And yes, it does matter, even these little bitty details here. Pay attention to all this stuff. You will like yourself more at the end of the day if they don't creep up on you later. All right, now last but not least, let's get, well, I guess we got a little bit of the side, inside of the calf plate over here. So, some of these places we won't even put any more paint on. That might be all the paint those edges even see. That with the burnt umber and the black makes all the difference in the world. So same thing on these. We're going to go through, even though his leg here is bent, you know, a lot more dramatically than the other one, so this is going to be more in shadow. What I want to do here, feel like on this outside edge, we're going to go from top to bottom, like this, top to bottom, physically as the model is, not top to bottom of the shin plate, basically outside to inside ridge, like we were doing on some of the other pieces. Because the bend now, the light coming from the top, we can afford to do this and build up a little bit of color on that ridge and modulate the highlight like we were doing before.
Thank you for that follow, Ultra Mega Helmet.
Ultra Mega Helmet! Feel like you're bragging. Thank you for the follow. All right, so again, load up the bulk of your color right in that center ridge. All right, but make sure you've got color all over this plate. Don't let any just burnt umber show. Notice I've covered everything.
Why don't you donate $5 to the cause and maybe it'll make you feel better.
Signs point to fail. Thank you.
Signs point to fail with a $5. Thank you, my friend. Every $50 gets us a giveaway. We already got one up on the board happening. Because we are doing this tutorial thing tonight, we will do all the giveaways towards the end of the stream.
$5 donation received from Signs Point to Fail. Friday.
Thank you guys so much.
Friday. She didn't say it as enthusiastically as it was typed.
Did he have exclamation points?
All caps, exclamation points, and she says
Friday.
Friday.
I feel like if you want to be let down, just have her read like your birthday card, right? You should have like the Windows woman like speak at your eulogy, right? I feel like that would be like the ultimate letdown. Slow Fuse was a man.
He was a man who paints good.
I'm realizing right now I forgot this piece of this plate up here, so I'm going to come back in and do that. Same way we did before, building up color on the outside of that to match the other plates there. And we need to get the outside of these. Again, just leaving the umber in towards the blue pants.
Telemachus said, I want the Windows text-to-speech voice to be a pallbearer at my funeral so she can let me down one last time.
What? Exactly, right? I feel like that's the way it would work, too. Legit. That is exactly how that would work. Bricktone, what the hell is going on, man? I know you don't want to give you your chance on the wheel, but you don't need to run. What? What does that mean, Armin?
It's when we crashed.
Oh, I see.
Because as soon as the giveaway was triggered, it crashed.
Oh, Ray is asking if I could show you how I did the belt again. On the belt, we just did a bright spot right here over the hip.
Put it up just a little bit.
Right? So we looked at the way we had painted the blue on the pants. And remember how this left butt cheek and hip is where we went brighter on our blue? So we just matched that with our bright spot for our gold, what will be our gold, right? And we just put most of our brightness right here over that area of the pants and then fade it back to shadow left and right, right? So you go to shadow up underneath the sash over here and shadow as we go towards the quiver over here. And then in the front, I just picked like a center spot, you know, right here on the belt, brighten it up, and then fade either direction into shadow as it goes underneath the plate and underneath the sash again. And same thing here. Just pick a spot. I picked a little bit, shifted left, and then faded it both directions again. Guess we got a little bit here that we need to also get some color in.
Ray also said, can you warn us a couple minutes before the first whip to make sure we've done our base coats right?
Yeah. Remember, on Friday, we don't do a lot of whip stops. Even though we're doing this, it'll be just like when we started on Tuesday. We'll take a long one at the end. So you'll have all the time in the world. Everything that we do tonight, you'll get to work on before we go take a look at it in whip. Okay? So hopefully you can see what we're doing, right? I mean, you're already getting the feel that, I mean, if you look at it, you can see our dark spots starting to build in. It doesn't look metal yet. It looks like we're just painting a horrible yellowish baby poop color, right? And non-metallic metal always starts out rough like this as you block in your bright spots and so on and so forth. The next layer will start to bring it out. Well, no, the next layer won't start to bring it out more because the next layer is going to be green, which is going to throw you, but the next layer is going to be green. All right, but then the layer after that will start to pick up and you'll start to see the metallic come to life. All right, so let's paint the inside of this shin over here. That's the only spot I think we got left for gold before we move on to green. I know. Why the hell would you paint it green, Fuse? Don't ask stupid questions. Just trust me. Here, I'm gonna push top to bottom because we're in the shadows here. So I am kind of, I'm not modulating this panel the same way I would have on some of the others. I want to have this one brighter along this bottom edge. Because it's going to be a lot darker. So I'm not really worried about a whole lot of color in here. Boy, my brush has got a bunch of gunk on the tip. I feel like it's time to show you guys how I clean my brush, whether you like it or not. Again, just making sure I leave that dark spot between my panel lines. Give us a good start, and then a little bit. Wow, there's a lot of water on my brush.
Maui Blood said, love the soap.
Awesome.
Spent an hour last night working into my wicks.
Nice. Bring those points back for you. I mean, you know, a lot of people would be like, well, of course you're excited about it, you make it. But remember, like, we made it not knowing whether we'd sell it or not. We were just like, hey, it'd be nice if I could get some freaking brush soap that's awesome. And we went through the first batch not being awesome, the second batch being pretty awesome, and then working the second batch to get the consistency that we wanted, and Jen nailed it, knocked it out of the park. I feel like it's the best soap I've ever used.
Yay.
Not just because we sell it. If it were something somebody else sold, it would be what I'd be buying, kind of a thing. For those of you who don't know, Jen is making our own brush soap. It is Jen-tastic's Drunken Brush Goop. It is up on the site. I think there's still a few 2 ounces left, and she's cooking up more this weekend. It's a great waxy consistency. Ray said it'll clear your sinuses, but I don't feel like it smells very much. It's a great soap. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to use a little bit right now because my brush is starting to split and fray. All right, so I'll show you what I do for cleaning. I just load my brush up with water. I'm literally just going to dig it in here and pull a little bit of this out, right? Squidge it around the base of the brush like this. Right, and then I just take the brush and I cup my hand a little bit so that the center lines of my hand, right, these wrinkles in my hand form a nice trough to kind of shove the brush in there.
You tasted it?
And then I literally just sud it up, right?
It should smell like beer and oatmeal.
It ain't called Drunken Brush Goop for nothing. We're trafficking alcohol without a license. Don't tell nobody.
Nah. Cooks out.
4.5% per volume, right here. Every time I say mahogany, gotta eat an ounce of brush soap. Don't do this that I'm saying, by the way.
Don't eat the brush soap.
Don't eat the brush soap.
Well, Maui said, race over lies, it didn't work, but it does taste good.
Oh, no. No. Right, so I just sit here and just kind of use this jackhammer motion. The reason I'm doing that is that you want to, when you clean your brushes, you want to force as much soap into the ferrule as possible. All of your problems with your brush happen where in the part of the hair you can't see. Most of the time it's not out here. Every now and then you might get paint stuck in here that kind of fuses the hairs together and you got to go in and clean that up. But generally it's not a problem up here. That fixes itself by just kind of squidging the brush around in your hand real fast. Right? The bigger problem with your brush fork tonguing, with it not holding a point, is all in this area of the brush. So you want to push as much soap up in there as possible. Right? Now we're working with like some browns, yellowy browns, so we're not getting a lot of color out of this. Then I just wipe it off. I always just grab a paper towel and just wipe it off. I just fold the paper towel over, pull the brush out.
And pollute my britches with delight.
Yori, cast it on.
Yori.
What the hell's going on?
13 months.
And you can see it dug out quite a bit of paint out of the ferrule, even though my brush looked like it was pretty clean. There was a bunch of crap built up in there. And now I don't have the hook on the end of my tip anymore, and I get a nice point back out of my brush every single time. And it'll last quite a while. As you paint, as you paint really thin like I do, there is untold amounts of paint that gets sucked up into the ferrule just because of the capillary action of a brush. That's how a brush works. The reason paintbrushes work is that all of these individual hairs, when you dip it into a fluid, it sucks it up. Even if it's upside down, it defies gravity, right? If I dip, obviously we go into the palette this way, and it still sucks paint up into it. Well, it doesn't stop sucking the paint when it hits the part that you don't want it to go into. It will, when you work thin, it'll pull paint all the way into the hairs that are down in here. Because these hairs are tied off, and then there's a remainder of hair in the tail behind the knot down in the ferrule. And as paint gets soaked into that and it dries, all of this hair becomes a solid mass and puts a pinch on your brush, right? That if I do this, right, you'll see the brush split. See? As I pinch the brush at the ferrule, the brush forks. And that's why you start getting these problems. All right, so it's usually people try to clean up here and lick their brush and all that stuff, and that doesn't do anything. You got to get something that draws the paint out of the ferrule, which is why we love this soap so much. It literally acts like it sucks the paint out. We sat here on stream one day and literally cleaned the brush. It looked clean here. Ferrule was clean, shiny, just like this, no paint to be seen. And I'd clean it and more red would show up because it's just sucking paint out of all the hair that's down in the ferrule. And that's what you want. That's what makes a soap good. So. Acquired more BattleTech minis. Bad Monkey. Nice. What have I done? What are you talking about? What have I... We finished... Were you here when I finished the Timberwolf? Bad Monkey? We got our Timberwolf done there. Giving it away on Halloween. October 31st on NG. Now, we'll be streaming too, but earlier in the day than they do, and then they're going to be giving the Timberwolf away over there on NG. So you could win it. You just got to go follow the No Guts, No Galaxy guys. Phil and Darren are going to be doing a big celebration of the end of their drive to get people to MetCon in Vancouver this year. And part of that celebration will be giving away our Timby that we painted. So it turned out really nice. I'm digging it. She's a nice. So you can get your chance to win that on the 31st. I'll keep updating you as we get closer. Do soap is ready for purchase? Azrael, it is up on the store, slowfusegaming.com. It is. I get it, Bad Monkey. You got the disease now, man.
Oh, Maui Blood beat me to it. It's faster.
Holy cow! It rezzed your citadels. Nice. All right, back to work. Back to work. No rest for the wicked. All right, so we've got the basic setup here. You can start to see shadows and brightness falling in, even though we're not super bright because this was not our super bright paint. The golden brown is our darker, part of our shade layer, believe it or not. So it just tints that burnt umber so that we don't have any more of that super dark brown anywhere. We're starting to look like, okay, I can see this becoming gold armor now. But now we got to start working some other colors in. And the first thing I want to do, which is going to seem really weird, is I'm going to discolor all of our gold with Cam Dark Green. Okay? Now, if you at home don't have a green like Cam Dark Green, you don't have to do this step. You can move on, you can just watch and listen while I do this, and then pick up again when I start back with yellow ochre, and you'll be fine. You can be burnt umber, golden brown, yellow ochre, yellow RLM, ivory mix, ivory, done. And never put green on your model at all. What the green does is it just gives the final gold a little bit of a different hue to it, and in my opinion makes it look, if you're going for shinier golds, or even if you're going for just kind of dull golds, it makes it look more like a real gold. Like, and I don't think anybody would have real gold armor, right? Gold's not the hardest metal out there. So, but in our case, we want it to feel like real gold, not like plated gold. And in that case, I want a little bit of green in it, right? Is Cam Dark going to look okay over the rich copper you have going for Beastie Brown? Yeah. Yep, it will. Is German Field Gray Silvernail? VMC German Field Gray, is it close? I don't have model color stuff here, and I don't trust the model air to be the same. You'd have to trust your gut. What you want is a darker green, okay? It doesn't have to be a ruddy green. I like Cam Dark Green because it plays so well with every color. It's got enough of a yellowy hue coming out of it that it looks kind of muddy, brown, green. You just want to make sure it's dark because we'll be glazing very, very thin. And anytime you glaze, whatever color you start with gets about 2 shades lighter or more. So this green will not be this dark on the model at all. It'll be brighter than this. So just start with a darker green. Don't use like an angel green. Don't use a green that trends more towards blue, like a rich, bright green that you would do for like orc skin or anything, right? Like don't use, do I even have an angel green around here? You could probably get away with Crypt Wraith very easily if you were using Army Painter, because it again trends kind of into that yellowy green and is very dark, so that would be a good choice. The kind of greens I would not use would be like green skin. Don't use something like this, right? It's too bright already, and when you glaze it's going to become neon, so don't do that. You want something that looks like a, you can imagine like army greens, right? Like little army men green kind of thing. Well, you got something. If you don't have, forget the names. Just look at the colors. You've got, if you have a dark kind of military green, that's what you want right now.
Like a camo color.
Yeah, like a dark camo color, right? Olives, drabs. I'm sitting here looking at the butt end of all my paints. Whatever this is would work really well. Starting to see a trend here, right? This would work pretty well. Right, this is, what is this? This is reflective green.
Black Wolf said olive drab.
Model color reflective green. What brand olive drab? Because like US dark green is kind of a drab. It's a little too light. I feel like olive drab would be too light. When you glaze with it, it's going to be too bright. Right? But a darker green like this, right? So like I said, this is Cultist Robe from Army Painter would work. Let's see, what else do I have sitting over here that looks like it would work really well. Cam Dark Green from Model Color would also work, just like Cam Dark Green from Model Air, but they are not the same color, right? Here's Cam Dark Green, and here's Cam Dark Green.
Wow.
They're not the same color at all, but it would work, all right? So Cam Dark Green with Model Color would work. Reflective Green with Model Color would work. Russian Green would work. All of the Cultist Robe, the stuff that I showed you from Army Painter would work. Yeah, Russian green wouldn't be bad, although it's going to be a little more yellow, but with gold, that's not a fear. So stuff like that.
Yeah, Omega Sun said the last 2 ounce sold before I finished checkout. We'll check back next week.
We'll have some
We'll
over
have
the
more.
weekend. So sorry about that. We had a lot. You guys blew it up. You already went and bought it all. Yeah, so we will have some. We are waiting on the 2 ounce
Containers.
tins to
We
get
ran
in.
out of containers.
So as soon as we
But
get more
they'll be
containers,
here.
we'll have more in. We're making it constantly, and we make it here, so you don't have to wait about it shipping to us and all that kind of stuff. So I apologize for that. Thank you guys so much for the support. We've been having a real trouble keeping it in stock, and that's a good thing. But we're able to restock it real quick. So, all right. So now what I'm going to do is work this. I'm going to take the time to show you how thin we're going to work with this color, because this is a different technique than we've used so far on this model, except when we did the purple on the blues. If you were here for the first day, when we glazed this purple into our blue fabric, it's the same process that we used there, okay? So I've got my drop of paint, and I'm going to basically take a loaded brush of water. This brush has tons of water in it, right? And I'm going to drop a droplet of water right on the side of the drop of paint and pull a tail out. And then this is the paint I'm going to be using. Okay, about like that thickness, right? So remember how I said if you can push it around and the dot of paint stays true, that your normal painting. This one, the droplet is a little bit too fuzzy. It fuzzes out real quick. This is what I'm going to be painting with, right? Thinner than watercolor at this point, because all we're trying to do is put a filter,
Ray.
put a
Glad you
filter
like
over the
it.
top of this brown that we've got on here. So maybe before doing it, just watch me do a couple of these panels and see how they turn out. All right, so notice how as I put it over my thumb, notice how very little green you can see, and you can still see all of that golden brown. That's exactly what we're looking for. So if I start down here on this plate, I'm just going to paint the entire plate with this glaze of green. I don't even care if it goes in the holes. I'm going to filter the whole thing. I'm going to give it one good solid coat first. Right? And you probably can't even tell that anything happened other than it got wet, right? It got shiny wet. Fine. That's what we're looking for. You hear me refer to glazing? This is glazing, or filtering, or whatever name we use for whatever day we're doing it. right? And I'm going to do the same thing to all of this. Every area in the shadows, across the bright spots, everywhere on this gold, I'm going to put a very, very thin coat of this green, right? Cover everything over the golden brown and the shadows, not the stuff next to it, obviously, but very carefully line in these sides. You get it to where it pools up, dry your brush off, soak up the pool of paint. You don't want any of it to pool up in any of the areas of the model. Okay. If you're doing it right, you won't notice at home too much green either. You may see a little bit on this first pass. We'll start seeing more on the second pass. Don't use your paint so thick that you see green the first time. And I know that sounds weird, but that's the key to glazing, is that you don't want to notice the color that you're putting on the first go round all the time. You may see a hint of it, and that's exactly where you want to be. If you put it on there and you're like, oh, green, then you're doing it wrong. You're too thick. Brush stroke doesn't matter since we're just going for coverage. So just choose whatever brush stroke for the panel that you're painting needs. Right, lay it in there. Like I said, this is not something that you have to do. I like it for when I'm doing true gold. You'll see that a lot of times when we're doing golds and non-metallic that we don't do this, or we put a little green on at the end as a tarnish. That's not what we're going for here. This green is not a tarnish green. It's not meant to be an effect. It's meant to just give us a tint to the metal overall. And at the end of the day, you'll see that the shadows with a little bit of green would look different if we set them up next to another model where we did the exact same gold workup without the green, right? If we did all of this with just the golden brown, moving into, now look, like on the inside of the calves, notice how you can see a little bit more of the green because we have less of the golden brown there because they were in shade. So hopefully you can see that tint showing up with the green there if I can right here. I feel like that's pretty good. So you may see a little bit of the green showing up in the deepest shadows already. That's fine. You don't want to be so thick that you start seeing green over the brightest of the yellow browns yet. And you'll notice this gives you a really cool effect, and it'll probably give you ideas. Oh, hell, I was doing these, Death Guard the other day. This would have been a really cool way to, have gone over my base coat of brown or whatever I was doing and get a really cool kind of nurgly shadow going that then you highlight up over. So this is not just for doing non-metallic metal. You see me do this all the time for all sorts of colors.
Just a little bit, please.
All it really does is give us a means to alter the hue of a base coat to push it where we want to go without necessarily having a custom mix of color, right? Because I don't have a golden brown that has a tinge of green to it that looks like it was all painted over burnt umber. That's just asking too much, right? For me to mix that paint, nah, not going to happen in a million years. Because I know how to do this, and this is much easier. This is like cheating, right? So we got those. I think we've got everything down below now.
Armin said, I still have a hard time fitting on paints.
I don't know why. Are you over thinning? Like they're breaking on you? Or you're not being able to get thin enough, Armin? Because I do them all the time, and they don't act any different for me is what I'm confused by. Like they literally mine act just like every other paint. So I don't know that there's anything I can tell you custom to do. I think last time we had talked about that, it was more about, did you get all the medium out of the bottle, which I think you have now, right? Again, just continuing on, glazing this dirty water glaze of green over all of my gold parts. Hopefully you guys at home are seeing the effect as it happens. Ever so subtle. Even though you might not see it on my camera, those of you that are painting along. For those of you who are joining us who might be new, this is a paint-along series that we do. We sold 20 of these models to viewers through our store over at slowfusegaming.com. And all of those viewers are painting along with us right now in stream. So you will see at the end of the stream what people in chat, your compadres, are coming up with, as they either use the same colors we are, maybe they're altering the colors a little bit. I think so far all the photos we've seen, people are pretty much sticking true to our color scheme. We posted our color list up on slowfusegaming.com on the sell page for this miniature. That sell page is still up there, even though there aren't any more miniatures in stock. You can still go over there and see the colors that we are using if you're interested in, you know, anything that we got going on here. Just a fun thing we do. Let's get the chest real quick.
Armin said, I can't get it thin enough. I can do it just fine with Vallejo, but not Army Painter. Model color and game color are fine. BBC Gaming said, I still have trouble, but I think I'm not going thin enough because where I put the brush down at first, I can see the glazed color.
Yep, that's the goal, is that you gotta be willing to go thin. You also notice that every single time before I go to the model, I'm getting rid of most of the pigment on my thumb so that I don't overload it. And you can see, look how subtle the difference is, but look at the leg plates versus the chest. Look at the arm and the leg plates versus the chest, right? Notice how there's a subtle difference because the chest seems a little brighter, right? All of these have dulled down just a little bit because of that green. Right? Even though I can't say, oh, look, green. I mean, maybe, I don't know how many of you guys are out there seeing green. On my end, a little bit more than probably the camera is picking up. But now let's do the chest, and it'll start darkening up just like those. Because we did want to do this with a dark green. If we did it with a bright green, it would look really, really freaky. Right? It would look like it was glowing or something. There's times when that makes sense to do, but not for what we're doing here. Yeah, Armins, I would say that maybe with your Army Painter paints, maybe just add more water. Try more water. You know, just keep playing with it and seeing what works and what doesn't. Test, you know, paint on a piece of sprue, all those things we talk about all the time. Just keep giving that a whirl. All right, and I'm pretty happy with this without feeling like I want to push another coat on there. You look at yours and think if you're doing the same thing and ask yourself, hey, am I seeing enough green? Did I see enough change over my gold to feel comfortable with it? I do at my end, because the goal with this is not to get green. It's really to make sure that those shadows don't appear orange, right? Because the burnt umber itself is kind of an orangish brown, and so I don't want orangish brown on these golds. At the end of the day, I want the shadows to have a little bit of a darker grayish green, which is what you're gonna get when this green goes over the umber and the black, all right? And so that's it. So I feel like this is pretty good. I don't know that I'm gonna add any more to this. I like it. So dunzos. You can play with it. You can choose to play with it with this model or try it on another model when you do it. If you go with more greens, you're just going to get a little bit of a different end effect. Realize that none of the other colors that we're putting on, because we're going to go to yellow ochre next, right? And yellow ochre starts getting into yellows. And while it has a little bit of brown content, not very much green, all right, for the Model Air one. Other yellow ochres will have a little bit of green showing through them, but this one not. So you're not going to have any green to pick up with. So if you go too much green on this, now you got yellow blending in over greenish browns, and it's going to look a little funky. So I would suggest not pushing it too far. I'm happy with where we're at, so I'm going to go back, and now we're going to start with yellow ochre. If you didn't have yellow ochre, Plague Brown, we showed you from Game Color, works really well.
Hey, Darkness.
Hey, Darkness, now what's happening? All right, so yellow ochre from Model Air, Plague Brown from Game Color, very, very similar. There is a color from Army Painter that is almost exactly like this. It is called Basilisk Brown from Army Painter, works really, really well. Oh, that's Plague Brown again. I was gonna say that looks exactly like it, but that's the same color. Yeah, so these are those. If you do not have these colors, then the Beastie Brown with yellow RLM would work. So if you have Game Color Beastie Brown, right? If you take that and mix it with a yellow, a darker yellow like this, you will get these colors. Play around with it and see. What you're trying to do is just start moving to yellow from where we were last time, which is this golden brown, right? And golden brown into yellow ochre is the transition we're looking for, these two. So that's a lot of different colors you could play around with if you don't happen to have the exact one that we're using. Yeah, these paint-alongs are really cool because everybody's using this as a test model, and it's a fun model, and we all get to compare notes and see like what hung some people up versus what other people had problems with. Some people might wind up having no problems until they hit the feathers. Some people might, not have any problems with the wings, but everything else was a problem. Some people are going to get stuck on non-metallic metals, and that's why I really like this paint-along kind of situation. It's kind of like distance learning with everybody being able to have the same or similar models. Even if you wanted to paint along with us with the same colors on an infinity model, that works too. You could be doing this non-metallic metal on another model you have, and hopefully I'm showing you the techniques that say, I don't care what the model is, I don't care what colors you're using necessarily, I'm just showing you how we want a dark base, we want then a kind of medium dark layer over that as your base coat. I've tinted this back down with a little bit of green because of the gold. Fancy! Thank you so much for the host. How the hell are you tonight, my friend?
Unicorn.
Fancy changed her hair up. It looked fantastic. She straightened all her hair.
Oh, cool.
It's all blonde and straight.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah, it looked good the other night.
huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Assassin Red with a resub. Thank you, my friend. 7 freaking months, Assassin. The man, the myth.
Thanks, Assassin.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome if you're watching Fancy. My name is Jason. That over there is Jen. We are doing a paint-along for a model from the GCT Studios game Bushido, which is kind of a mystical, alternate history, feudal Japan.
Well, huzzah, huzzah.
And obviously we have a Tengu,
Throw back my
maybe not
legs
obviously.
and pollute
Drakenfar,
my
thank you for the
britches
sub.
with
10
delight.
months. Holy hell, thank you.
Fancy unicorn.
And we've got this as a viewer paint-along. So we have around 20 of our viewers that are out there painting this same model, following and learning the techniques that we're doing. And we encourage everybody at home, pick up a model. If you're painting along, we're showing you color and everything. Tonight, you're joining us as we're doing non-metallic yellows. And so far, we've done all of our dark base coats, or non-metallic golds. And we've done all of our dark base coats, and now we're moving on to the first step that is going to start looking like brighter yellow, and this is yellow ochre. So again, back to our normal thickness of painting, which is also still way thinner than most people like to paint. I love how I say, okay, we're back to our normal painting thickness, and everybody's like, I still can't get that thin.
No, Assassin, not yet. You're good.
And I am going to start right down here in the middle of the, what did we decide we were going to call this?
The dangle something. Dangle shield or something?
I don't remember.
I liked it though.
And remember, right
Something
in,
dangle.
right in the middle. Brighter in the middle. And then working out towards the edges where we want it to be darker. And you can see immediately how, because of that green that we put on there, how this starts standing out even with the first coat. And we work really, really thin here, guys. This is very, like, this is almost just dirty water. There's
That
not
might
a lot
be
of
what
paint
it's really
going on
called,
here.
But we made up a funny name.
Right? And I'm also, notice how I'm also kind of now starting to take the brighter color along the
Not
edges.
that darkness.
Right? I want to take the brighter yellow along the edges as I work down towards the center, and then I'm just brightening up the center a little bit. Again, just kind of catch some of this edge, build up paint in these like 2 lines right here in the center. Everything else should just be kind of filtering out along that edge.
The cock blocker.
It's the cock blocker. That's what it is. Right?
Wolf, was it while he was playing a game? Because he probably just didn't notice it. I was in the next room and I could just hear him erupting with rat bastard. Like, I started to count how many times he screamed out rat bastard.
Well, but I do that for fun. That's a fun, endearing term. I was not mad at that game last night. We were having fun.
It was so loud, though.
Oh.
No, it was funny. Because I could hear you from the living room. I'm like, uh-oh.
He's playing those silly video
Something
games.
going on in there.
All right, bingo. So now you see that what we've been
flag.
doing with all of this darkness, notice how I said all of this is really just setting up the shadow. And notice what we just did? We pushed all of that work into the shadows. So now around our rivets here at the edges, we get that nice blend into that darker kind of greenish, golden brown, burnt umber, but we forced it into the shadow layer, and bingo, now you can start seeing where we're headed. Now the non-metallic starts to take form in your head. Still doesn't look like metal, right? But now that you are not seeing this, like some people will come in and look at this and say, well, that's not really what I want. Well, now you're starting to see, oh, now I understand we're going towards gold this way. Okay?
Hey, somebody likes us.
Dr. Bathroom? What the hell?
Dr. Bathroom.
Doc, I have questions. Thank you for the follow. What's going on, Dr. Bathroom?
Doctor, Jason comes up with his best jokes in your room.
Well, what I call my best jokes. Not everybody seems to like them as much as I do. All right, now I'm just gonna move randomly around. I'm gonna do the belt on the belt. I just want to.
Ask away.
I want to start right here in the center of the belt. I'm using a stippling motion here to build up this yellow, and then just light strokes out towards the edges. Bingo. Right, just to give it a little bit of shine right in the middle, and I still want that real deep shadow at the edges. Right, so I don't overtake my golden brown. I don't want to make it as wide of a stroke as the golden brown, but now I've got that bright spot right in the middle. When compared to this one over here, big difference. Move over to this side, same thing, stippling, just kind of poking the brush at the model, right? Get some brightness laid in there in the center where I want it the brightest. Bam, right? Leave that shadow, and then just kind of lightly push it over on the edge, and that edge down low, if I can grab it just a little bit, bang. Right? And then leave those shadows again as it goes over here towards this thigh plate, and as there's that shadow for the sash tie that's going down the front there. Notice how I get that kind of fade of shadow around that will tighten up as soon as we paint the sash. The shash. I can't even say that freaking word. All right? I want to get a little bit, a hint of this ochre on the top edge of the belt as it goes over here. That. Also, we got all these little bitty spots of belt that are peeking out. So again, I just want to start almost treating it like an edge highlight and push a little bit down into each one of these little sections like that. Get a little bit of glow. Making sure that I'm leaving shadow on all of my sides. Basically boxing in my highlights, so to speak. Everywhere where I'm putting a highlight, I'm leaving a shadow all the way around the perimeter in most cases. All right, let's start with these thigh panels. Remember, we pulled right to left on this guy, so it's brighter along this center edge. Same thing here.
Somebody likes us.
All right, I'm going to pull towards the center.
Crimson V or 5.
What's going on? Thank you for that follow. Okay. Very, very thin, so you're not going to see a whole lot of paint coming off right off the bat. And notice how before, when we were using the golden brown, I started my brush stroke all the way at the edge and pulled it all the way into the center. With this color, I'm not starting at the edge. I'm starting about halfway, right? So I'll start like right here in the center of the panel and pull towards the left. That way I still leave all of this transition that I had before out towards the edge.
Darkness said, is this a Tengu model?
Yes, it is. This is Buzenbo, or Guzenbo, Buzenbo, I forget. Something, I got the card right here. Buzenbo with a B. One of the elder Tengu samurai.
That sounds like the way Snoop Dogg would say bimbo.
Yeah, whatever. It's a Buzenbo. What's going on? Thank you for that follow. Sorry, I butchered that name.
Well, I can't even decipher what that could be. There's too many consonants.
All right, so again, just going back in at the end and just in that millimeter of space right here, load a little bit more of the yellow up so that this dimmer yellow, it just kind of blends in right along the edge. Then we'll move over here to this panel, same thing. Work from about halfway through the panel over towards that middle edge, lifting your brush up casually at the end and leaving a little bit of a gap for that shadow between the plates. Remember, I'm not getting any paint in these two shadow lines so that it keeps that division on the panels the whole time. And I get that really nice fade right out of the gates. And I want to come and drop a little bit more right along the center line.
I believe this particular color is yellow ochre.
Yep, yellow ochre.
If that's what you're asking about.
Straight yellow ochre. So there you go. Now I've got that built up. And now these you're actually starting to get a really good fade and kind of that nice almost metallic feel. We still aren't bright enough to sell it as metallic, but we're getting close. You start selling non-metal metallic at the very brightest saturations that you put on. I'm extending my ochre just a little bit.
Have a good weekend, Richard.
You out of here, Richard. Take it easy. Thank you for hanging with us. Hope your weekend is great. And then moving right along, we'll do this flange. Right down here. Again, coming from about halfway over towards the center. Very light brush strokes. And then build up more yellow right at that center to get that transition on there.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Bingo. There you go.
Your motto works.
Your motto works. What's going on? Thank you for that follow. All right, so there you go. Now we're starting to see all of this brightness coming together. On these, I can also take this color like I was down below, and I can come and start putting an edge on all of the hard panel edging on the outside. Basically a line, an edge highlight like you would on anything. Except now, it's going to start giving you that edge shine that a 90-degree or close to 90-degree edge on metallic will always have. Right, as it sits right along our darkest parts. Now that helps give it the effect of a metallic or hard surface. This could be polished plastic. And we'll do that on all these edges. We didn't worry about this with the golden brown because golden brown isn't bright enough to really sell it for any reason. But with the yellow ochre, it really does work.
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks. Okay. So just that little bit of edging in with this color makes a world of difference, especially on these big flat panels. Right? Because now we start boxing in that deep shade reflection that metal has. Turn it to this side. Now notice how our center peak is much, much brighter. So it makes this darkness that we set in on the other side that much darker. And on this side, we're not going to be as aggressive with the yellow ochre. Here we're just going to lightly bring it towards the edge and not build it up quite as much as we did on the other panel. Okay. About like that. So call it one layer of this yellow ochre over here as opposed to 2 or 3 that we done on the other side. Go a little bit thicker on this flange. It stands a little bit more proud on the model. So we can brighten it up just a little bit more and get that bottom edge going. The top edge too. Being very careful not to push my brush hard enough to get the panel behind it there. A little bit more paint.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Hey,
Milo the Short.
Milo the Short. What's happening? Thank you for that follow. Let's carry this, get this top edge on this panel. A little highlight. Top edge on this panel, a little highlight. Not too much. And we can feather a little bit more along this edge on the outside. Not too much. Like I said, I don't want that as bright as the center panel line. And that's looking good. That's starting to set up really nice for metallic. You can see how this center line, what we're going for is that reflection, right? It might be something off in the distance. We don't really care. It's just a reflection. It might be the quiver if it were a different angle, right? We're not concerned with what it actually represents. We're just concerned with driving home the metallic feel of it. And as we start building up brighter and brighter colors, it'll become more and more apparent. I also want to get to
Drago, do you speak French or did you use Google Translate?
She knows everything.
I know. That's why I had to ask.
She knows
I wouldn't be surprised if she spoke French. My high school French did not help me with that question. Do not speak French, okay?
Just pick out those rivets there. Don't want to forget those. Also going to grab the outside edges here.
I knew it was something about the figurine. I got that much.
And here. Like so. Again, boxing in those dark spots. Looking pretty good. Move over
Hey,
to this other
somebody
thigh
likes
plate.
us.
I'm going to start moving quicker. I think you guys get it.
Valneris, thank you for the follow.
Thank you so much for the support tonight, guys. Cheers to you. I
Valneris.
still have a little bit of paint drink.
Valneris.
Probably tastes like horrid hell
Yeah.
right now.
All watery. Got a little bit left too.
Yeah, I was murdering poor rats last night. But then he got his Nurgle and turned around and killed me. Keyline Prime and I were playing Blood Bowl last night. So.
Oh.
Ray, you hate this? FML? Whatever, dude. You're probably killing it. Yeah, we had a lot of fun last night. Like I said at the end of the stream, Blood Bowl's not a game I can play a lot of. Right? It's just not. No tracking ID for your order? Did you ask me for one? That doesn't happen.
See, that one I know is still one more name. Google Translate is your friend.
All right. I'm going to start moving a little quicker on all these other panels. Just watch. Do what I do. I've shown you. I've talked about the process. I'm going to dig in here so we can get more done tonight. It's 7:15. So let's just start burning, guys and gals. It's just repetition of what we've already done, always pulling these brighter colors towards the spots that we've already defined as being our bright spots on each of these armor panels.
You know what, Drago? That was one of the first things that our French teacher taught us, was how to say, I don't speak French. Which means, I mean, I thought that kind of was a little bit of a cop-out. Like, we could have just stopped the class right there.
Jen's going to tell dad jokes all night,
Nope.
and I'm going to paint. What? It's your favorite thing. She's rebelling.
We already told the good one.
Huh?
I said we already told the good one tonight.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh. You laughed at it.
I totally laughed at it.
Every now and then she and I get a good belly laugh out of stuff that most people would just stare at us funny for. I love it.
What? What did you say?
I said every now and then you and I get a good belly laugh out of stuff that most people would just stare at us funny for.
Not every now and then.
Every day.
Pretty much every day. No, I love French, and I actually have a tattoo that's in French.
Her tattoo says something like, explore the stars, and she hates science fiction. Explain to me that.
It says look to the stars.
Look to the stars, but she hates sci-fi.
Nothing to do with sci-fi.
It does. It's what every good sci-fi novel says. Look to the stars. There you'll find your future. Stuff like that. When asked if she would move to Mars, a resounding no. Wants
No
nothing
way.
to do with that whole plan.
No. Absolutely not. Slow must be a Yanks fan.
Yank what? What do they
I
yank?
was just thinking of Tommy Boy.
What do they yank? What are we talking about?
Are you watching your favorite team, the Yankees?
Clean my brush. It's getting a gnur built up at the fore. Every now and then, if you don't clean sables enough, you'll start your lead hairs, the longest hairs on the brush, will start to build up dried paint, and you get a glob of it on there. You're gonna have to control that. It's a pain in the ass if it sits there too long. You get like 3 or 4 of your central hairs that need to be the ones divvying out paint on the model that all are clumped together. Never turns out nice. Remember too, you can always start choosing at this time how bright you want your metal to appear. The further you push this ochre, the more landing space you're going to have for the yellow RLM, the brighter yellow that we're going to put on next. And the more of those brighter colors you put, naturally, the brighter the whole thing becomes. But sometimes that's not real evident right now. And you maybe don't push your mid-tone far enough. And so when you come in with the yellow ochre, you don't put enough on. And then when you get to your last highlight or your second to the last highlight, you feel like, oh my God, that's not bright enough. This looks like trash. So always be thinking ahead to how many more colors do I feel like I'm putting on? How much brighter can I make this before I lose my shadows, right? And most of that comes with trial and error and practice. Not gonna lie, you're not gonna pick it up right off the bat. It's not gonna happen on your first model except by maybe lucky mistake. And that's fine. Don't get burnt out. Most people, when they send me messages, we got a couple today of people that were doing non-metallic metal and saying, hey, I'm really digging it, you know, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And I usually find that the first mistake that everybody, or the first hurdle, not really a mistake, but the hurdle that we all run up against when doing non-metallic metal is being afraid to push things dark enough and bright enough. And you hear me say that all the time. When people are showing me pictures of their non-metallic attempts, it's like, okay, don't be afraid to push this brighter here, because there's a very fine line between looking like a painted color, like this looking like painted yellow, and looking like it could be shiny gold.
My britches with delight.
And usually what does that...
Thanks, Cybound.
Cybound, what the hell's going on, brother? Usually the difference that you're going to find is in how high you go and how low you go with your values. It's really that simple. And it's training our mind to work completely differently than it does most times, because most times we're worried about good transition fades, you know, really, really easy blends. And in non-metallics, a lot of the time is going from real stark darkness to real bright highlights, all in a very, very short space. And that's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right, because as you're building it up, it all looks wrong. It's only when you get it finished that it starts like, oh my God, that looks exactly like metal, or, you know, that's what I was going for. And so you got to be willing to, you know, kind of endure all of that to get to the goal line. So trial and error, patience, keep up. Don't get frustrated. Hard line of floor right here. Most people. What do you mean by most people? What are you talking about, you people? Bob, I'm talking about you.
Ray said, I've noticed my NMM attempts have a sketchy look instead of polished or cell-shaded style metal. And honestly, I'm okay with that. It has in fact been getting easier, so thank you for taking the time to do these.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you will find your own style. And as long as you still feel like at the end of the day what you're seeing looks like metal, then it doesn't matter if it's a little rough. Sometimes that can work. It can look like dinged or battered metal. That's fine. And then what you do is you just start working on the smoothness of each coat. Because as you're learning, right now for most of us out there, you're learning how to work thin. At the same time, you're learning these advanced techniques of light placement and saturation and value. And those two aren't necessarily good to work together. I feel like it's trial by fire and you're learning more this way. But literally, learning to work thin is a deal all of its own. And you could paint for a year, sometimes longer, and never really get comfortable, or take that long to start getting comfortable with the thinness of your paints. Layering them up so that they look smooth and not cloudy, and that you're getting good transitions, and that it looks like you've blended 80 million colors together when you've only used 3. So that is part of this equation, and that's probably why your paint looks a little rougher, because you're experimenting with the thinness. And that's giving you brush strokes, and it's getting, you know, inconsistent dry patterns on the model when you go too thin. Brush strokes when you go too thick, and you're finding your balance there while also doing the non-metallic. So as both of those start coming together for you, all of it'll smooth out and you'll be really happy with it at the end. For sure. Marnius came in and started speaking French. Mm-hmm. You'll lose me right out of the gates. I tried to take German and that didn't work well for me either.
Oh, where are you painting this? I can't
It's
see.
way thin, so I don't need to be able to see that anyway, I don't think. I need to get more paint. Okay, I'm going to move to... I think I'm going to do the chest plate right now, as a matter of fact. On the chest plate, I wanted it brighter right in the center, so again, that's where I'm going to start. And just start pushing my paint towards the center. Letting it build up there, leaving shadows around the strap like we did before. Don't mess any of the balance that you've already started with. So remember, on these we want them brighter on the left. I'll brighten up the flange itself on the left up into the shadow here. Give it a spot of saturation where I'm going to go really, really bright around it. Now, on a flange like this, like a piece that sticks out further, notice how I've come a little bit around the front edge. It sticks out further, that light is going to saturate past that corner, whereas on the hard plate underneath it, it's going to stop at the edge. This, though, I'm going to shoot a little bit across. That'll give it a little bit of extra depth and show you that this piece sticks out further on the model. Then I'm going to come over here and just get the top of this side. And then a little bit brighter towards the outside corner on this piece over here.
I don't know what that means, Assassin.
What did he do? Is he trying to speak French?
He said you are a Heim. H-I-M-E.
Heim?
Heim?
I'm a dream? I don't think that's what that means, but that's what I think he meant to say. I'm a dreamboat. I don't think that's a word for dreamboat or awesome god of painting.
No, he said it to me.
Oh, to you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I don't know what it is. I thought he was talking to me. I feel like that's not a big enough word for awesome god of painting. Sorry.
It's not a big enough word for awesome unicorn either.
Hot old man. Heim. Maybe it's an acronym.
He said it to me.
Oh. I know this. I'm trying to make this about me. Come on.
An old starts with an O, not an I.
Damn it. Maybe not in German.
Oh, it equals princess in Japanese. Thank you.
Oh, it's Japanese.
Well, then thank you.
Arigato.
Can you move down?
No. Yes. Yes. No. Maybe. It's because I'm shifting on my knees here, so I'm not standing with my knees locked. As I keep finding a better place to stand, I think I'm moving my knees around too. All right, let's get the
But now we're getting a little bit of your head.
Oh, sorry. And just working towards the center line on these panels. Lightly layering it, moving from the darkness to the brighter spots is the key here.
The Unicorn Invasion of Dundee. Like Crocodile Dundee? There's a song called The Unicorn Invasion of Dundee.
What is Dundee?
I don't know.
Find out!
It looks like Crocodile Dundee.
It must be known. D-U-N-D-E-E.
Uh-huh.
Alright, so there we go. Leaving it to fade into shadow up underneath the strap, and as it goes back in towards the rest of the breastplate there on those. And then bring that modulated fade to where we go darkness right after the bright, and then we just bring in a little bit of brightness over here on these edges. Not too much.
Well, Armin, I don't think that's because of anything that we're doing.
What's that?
Said your feed keeps wanting to buffer like every couple of minutes, and it's annoying.
Yeah, Twitch may be doing. They're doing TwitchCon this
that's
weekend,
right.
So TwitchCon is this weekend, so they may be doing like a big presentation and have tons of people watching. And you know how that goes. Anytime Twitch is doing their own thing with bajillions of people, if we're on the same server, which we are because we broadcast on the West Coast servers, and yeah, so that's probably what's causing it.
Could get a little funky.
Right, if we go, show you how that's balancing out there, looking pretty good. We decided not to attend. Here I've got to reverse my stroke, go right to left with the bright color because we want brightness towards the center of the chest here.
BBC said this may be an odd question, but do you feel those long-lasting curly light bulbs do not put out as much light? The reason I ask is that it's what I have in my lamps in my hobby space, and I find I have trouble seeing despite having 2 lights.
I don't like them. I've really grown accustomed to sticking with LEDs. I feel like LEDs put out a more consistent light. I've of course used those.
Not yet, Epson.
I've never been happy with them though, and I couldn't tell you why. So maybe you've hit the point. Maybe it is that their just complete lumen output is different. I think it's more because of temperature of color for you probably. Generally, those lights are very, very good on, total lumen output, which is brightness, what we talk about, and especially at a hobby desk kind of level, because it's not like you're going 80 feet with your light. Probably it's probably only having to travel 24 inches or something. I don't know how far they are away from your desk space. But yeah, it generally is more the color. They're probably too warm in color, and so some of the paints that you paint with are going to look funky because of that. That could be it. You'll notice that with us, we've got a lamp here that can go any range of temperature, so it can go full warm, which is kind of, this is probably what your lamps are giving you, to full cool here, which is all blue or white. And I keep it kind of dead in the middle, about like that, right? But my lamp is literally from my elbow to my pinky away from, about that far, about this far from my surface, my painting surface. So CFL's compact fluorescents are not really bright. Yeah, again, it probably is more about color temperature than anything, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a 50 watt or 25 watt CFL compact fluorescent has as far as total lumen output. They all vary, so who knows.
Do you think that for the booty giveaway, you're going to wait till closer to the end of the show?
Yep, that's what I'd said. We'll do it at the end.
Do it at the end, Absinthe, you're good.
I don't want to stop because of doing this, so I'm going to get a little
Bobzilla, is that why you were saying that Jason was a Yankees fan?
Why?
Well, they're playing. Is this they're up, right? 3-. If they win this one, they get to go to the World Series.
Oh, is this the championship?
Yeah, and the Dodgers won last night. So the Dodgers are in the World Series. And it's the Yankees and the Astros?
I feel like the Astros are American League, so maybe, yeah.
I think that's who they're playing. And I think they're close to winning, but Bobzilla just said they're down. 2 outs, Yanks down still.
Is this the last game? Is this important?
Well, if they win, I don't know what the series is at, but I know that if the Yankees win, then it ends it.
Gotcha.
So
I couldn't care less about baseball, but yeah.
3 to something. 3 to 2, 3 to 3, I don't know.
Played a lot of baseball growing up because that was my off-season sport. When you play hockey, you play baseball in the off-season. But that's about all my...
When the Diamondbacks are done, I stop paying attention. Not that I paid close attention anyway.
I was going to say, she doesn't even pay close attention when they're playing.
But if they were in it this far, I'd be paying attention. But they lost to the Dodgers.
All right, what do we got? 7:35. I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna do this arm plate here, and then I'm gonna move to our next color so we can show everybody what the next kind of step needs to be.
Yeah, sports. Sports ball.
I was never a fan of baseball from a like watching it standpoint. It's the most boring game to watch.
Yeah, it's boring. Because it's so long.
It can be forever, and yeah, it's just not my thing. I like action in sports. They have to keep me interested.
Basketball.
Basketball's constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like basketball because of the trumped up, individual egos that I see in it.
They're very dramatic, those basketball
And because
players.
those guys, when they fight, make me laugh. Slap fights between 7-foot-tall men.
They don't
It's
fight
pretty
too often,
hilarious.
though. Yep, you got it, Boshek.
What do you say?
You dribble the ball down the ring to kick a field goal to score a hole in one, right?
Yep, you got it.
Exactly right.
You got it, man. Now place your bets. Who's going to dribble the most tonight?
No, worst thing ever. Oh my gosh, when I was a teacher, I hated the sports guys. Horrible people.
Being a coach, I can guarantee
Oh.
the worst thing about coaching is the parents. When coaching, like I coached midgets. Okay, that didn't come out right.
Yeah.
So midget league, if you're,
Kids, right?
yeah, it's like 16 to 18 is midgets. So, when you're coaching midget league sports, man, the parents are horrible. Especially in Texas, I was coaching hockey at the midget league level, and the kids, because we weren't UIL sanctioned hockey at the time, I don't know if you guys understand sports, but in the school level, for us at least, I don't know if that's nationwide, it was called UIL, and I don't remember what it means. But UIL sanctioning was what allowed it to have teachers that coached and be part of the school with school funding and travel and all of that. And if a sport wasn't UIL sanctioned, then you played it after school, and it was run by independent leagues and things like that. And parents paid a lot of money, and you had travel leagues, and they were just not part of the school. That's what hockey was in Texas when I was there. And the Dallas Stars were running this league, and so I was coaching the junior Stars and this midget league team. And I swear to God, all the kids that wanted to come play hockey had really great intentions. Some of them were full of themselves. They were great other sports stars in other sports. But they thought, I can be good at hockey, and they loved watching hockey and felt like it was a tough guy sport, and everybody wanted to be part of it. So we get big turnout for tryouts, and you get these parents that are like, well, my son is the starting quarterback for Plano Independent School Districts, Plano High, and has won state championships 6 years in a row. And I'm like, well, he's been in high school too long. He's won 6 years in a row. But you get my drift, is that I'm like, well, that doesn't mean he can skate, right? And even if he gets on skates and can go up and down the ice, that doesn't mean he gets a place on the team. And even if he gets a place on the team because he can go up and down the ice on his skates, does not mean he's going to be on the top line and be a superstar in hockey, right? So prepare yourself for the fact that your son is now playing a completely different game than he's ever played before, and I apologize if he doesn't make the team. And I was having to have these conversations with people that were like, why doesn't my son on the team? He's the star basketball player at the high school. I'm like, because this is hockey.
Yeah.
And he's not dribbling the ball down the court to shoot it in a hoop, Come on. It's crazy. Taria, I think UIL was more Texas. I don't remember what the national one was, but I think it followed the same kind of thing. Just in Texas, we called it UIL. That's what I remember. I don't even remember what it stands for. I was coaching midgets. I'm afraid of midgets. NCAA basketball I like a lot. Definitely.
Oh, Taria's in Texas.
Oh, cool, Taria. All right, let's move quickly into yellow RLM. It is our next stage of brighter yellow. So what we just did was yellow ochre, right, which is still pretty bright yellow, but now we're going to go to yellow RLM. It's going to take us up a notch, right? And I want to get through and work on probably the chest plate so that we can see how, or maybe the little crotch plate. What was that thing called?
Dangle shield.
Dangle?
I don't know. It was
I said
dangle something.
I said it covered his dangly bits, but I don't think that's what they said it was. It was like a cock plate or something?
There were all kinds of different
Crotch
ones.
plate? I don't remember. I feel like it was funny.
It was.
And now I feel bad for forgetting it.
Boshek said it was the cock blocker. I do like that one.
Oh, that was what we said on one of them. Okay, so again, just like we did before, I'm gonna start here in the center with this brighter yellow and just kind of focus right in the middle. And then a little bit out the edge here.
Yeah, we're definitely not looking for the real name of this.
Yeah, I don't have a clue what it is, nor do I care. It was something funny that we were saying.
It was dangle something, but I also like cock blocker.
Okay. Just starting to brighten it up a little bit more. Just a little bit of that edge. And just be careful not to push this out far enough to take over all of your yellow ochre. You need that yellow ochre to live there and to still have some spot on the model, otherwise you lose the fade. You jump from your bright yellow to super dark real quick, and that won't get you home.
So Lathan said my high school hockey team was bad, but we always won our fights.
There you go. There you go. Some coaches use fighting as a real good tactical advantage thing. If you knew that somebody on the other team was going to wreck you and score too many goals, you would go get in their face, hand wash them all the time. Not saying I ever told my kids to do this or that I did it when I was a player, but you would do that, and then you would drive the other team to the point to where they would get, a roughing penalty or a fighting major or something. In high school and lower level play, you can't fight. You fight, you get thrown out. So it's not like in the pros where they just get like a 5-minute major and go sit for a while. And younger, even though they make you wear a helmet and all that, you fight, you're gone. You could wind up with a league suspension and all sorts of stuff, so it's not promoted. And that's true in Canada as well, although you can get away with a little bit more there depending on the league and who's running it, I know.
Draco said, technically, birds don't need the cock blocker because they don't got one.
What? I feel sad for birds all of a sudden.
I thought the duck had, wasn't the duck one of the...
Rapey, somebody said. Ducks are rapey.
Oh, ducks are rapey. Or, weren't the ducks the ones that had the barbed penis? I know that cats do, right? But I thought the ducks had something, like a corkscrew penis or something.
Been thinking about this a lot lately.
No. Birds have no wing wang? They got wing, no wang.
All right, so now you're seeing as we go brighter, we get a lot more of the, okay, I can believe that we're eventually going to get to metallic. I'm catching certain
ducks
edges.
do. But he has a man bun?
Yeah. Bird bun, we were calling
Bird
it.
bun. Birdman bun.
Birdman bun. Man bun! Yeah, he's a hip bird. All right, so with this, you got to be really careful. We talk about it all. We came up in one of my tutorials with another student talking about how I said, you're kind of literally painting yourself into a corner. Each successive brighter color has to sit in a smaller and smaller area until eventually you just run out of space to put paint. And that's really the best analogy for what you're doing, right? Each layer of highlight has to be smaller and smaller and smaller until at the end of the day you got nothing left to paint, so you've run out of color. And so one of the big things is trying to get it to a point where you understand in your head how much of each previous layer to put on, how wide or big to make those color spotches, so that your next color has a place to sit and the color after that has a place to sit. Because if you paint your shadows so big that your highlights don't have a lot of space to sit on the model, then you don't get as much color to use, and so you may not be able to go as bright as you want. So you may have to go back and redo your shadows and start from scratch. So that pre-planning is a little rough as you get used to it, but as you can see, that's what I'm doing. I'm just painting smaller and smaller areas as I go. So like right here, I'm literally only focused with this yellow RLM right along this center line. I'm not going out and blending it too far this way anymore, right? Because I just want it bright right along that center ridge. Same thing right up here. I'm just going to focus with the bright yellow right in this center area.
Armin's don't question on Fridays. You should know this.
What's that?
Said, I got caught on a buffer cycle again, only to have Jen talking about duck and cat dick. WTF did I miss?
He's just boned.
That's what we do. And Dreadnoughty, he's going to go back to those, but he wanted to start adding in some of the other color on other pieces, so you could start seeing.
Yeah, I want to show. I want to show because we're finishing up for the weekend. I want to show everybody the steps of completing the gold, so that everybody that's watching or goes and watches the VOD can work during the weekend to get all of their gold done. It's not as important if we do the shin pads. It's all going to work the same way. If you have problems over the weekend in trying to apply the highlights where you need to, I went through and showed you where the brighter areas need to be, and hopefully you're gathering from the technique that you just repeat, putting your brighter colors where you said your bright colors needed to go, and like I just said, just keep painting it further and further into a corner, smaller and smaller amounts of paint. And eventually you get to the point where you're like, okay, great, I get it. You know, I can't add any more color because there's no place to put it. Every color I put on covers up the color beneath it entirely, which is not what you want. And so you stop, right? Or you just get to the perfect area where you're like, all right, cool, time to stop because this is the color I was looking for.
Marnius, have a good weekend.
Take it easy, Marnius. Thanks for hanging with us.
Gren said, before I forget, got any advice for painting the stitching on my corpse dude? I'm not sure what colors to use and make it fit with it. Thanks.
Your corpse dude has like a lot of the red and all of that on him, right? What is the stitching? Does it hold clothes or his skin together? I feel like if it holds his skin together, maybe, you know, like leather kind of colors. Depends, like right up against that bloody skin. If it's there, maybe it doesn't make sense to have it be brown because I think your bloody red was really dark, so that might cause a problem. You might go with like tans because of that. Khakis.
Boshek wants to know if you still have the bird snake Quetzalcoatl or
Yes.
pictures of it somewhere.
I do. It's sitting right behind me on the shelf. The shelf of doom. Put the brightness right there on that part of the panel. Feeling this is pretty good. I'm going to add just a little bit on these outer edges. I don't want to brighten these up too much because again, this is the shadowed part of the panel, but just enough that when we do our final highlights, it's got a place to land, remember? So very, very lightly there. So again, I get that really bright build up in the center, I go to darkness, and then I fade back to some brightness, but not a ton. All right? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to blend. I know, everybody's like, what? You didn't tell me when to mix paints. But you're always going to take your yellow RLM, and you're going to mix it half and half with ivory. Ta-da! Do it now! If you don't have ivory, you can use white. If you don't want to, the other colors that are kind of like ivory are Gray Matter Beige from Warpaints. Frodrick, what's going on? Welcome.
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks for the follow. But we're going to mix this 50-50 with our yellow RLM to get a nice bright yellow.
Grin said it's holding the skin together. Yes, I'm just not sure what to do with the stitches.
I think like probably a tan if you got all that bloody red open skin. I feel like a tan would probably work pretty well. You could even do something crazy like greens, but I feel like tans would work well. Anything too dark and I think it'll get lost, you know? All right, so this is the color I'm coming up with, right? Really, really bright yellow. If you had, well, no, because I don't want to shoot into that yellow. I was going to say you could use golden yellow, but I don't think that would work really well. Because we want this to be the setup highlight for then moving into ivory.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Brendan,
what's going on? Welcome.
BBC said, also, I guess this is a good time to ask, but I based the hair and skin, but I do not have the other two grays, but I have AP uniform and ash gray and light gray. Then just figured I'd mix whatever I used for the midtone with white for final highlight.
Yep. You got it. You're already thinking perfectly. No, literally, you're already thinking perfectly. Just pick a gray that you want as your midtone, and then you can mix white with it, and you get that, you know, that good highlight color. All right, so there we go. Now we're not using much paint at all. We're literally just going right in here on the center shine area of these plates and picking out a saturation point. By saturation, that's where the light is going to shine the most. Okay, and now you're going to start seeing metal. Or you should. If you're doing it right, now's where the metal starts coming in. You're like, oh, wow, this is starting to look like something.
Broken Rooster.
Great name.
Thank you for the follow.
Great name. You can take on some of these where you've got like a ledge, you can do a little bit of edge highlighting. You don't want to do a lot. You don't want to push it all the way to the end. You want to just kind of blend so your line doesn't stop dramatically. It can go off a little bit. About like that. Come around that corner a little bit.
Thank you, Grens. Yeah, Grenstoff is, he just said to type in booty to get in the drawing. We have a giveaway that we'll be doing soon. You type in, if you are a follower and you type in exclamation point booty, and you can enter, or you can win a prize.
Same thing down here.
Do that now.
I want my brightest color to kind of form a triangle down here at the bottom. I don't want it to take up this whole space, so I'm literally just gonna kind of feather it into the bottom wide, and then just a little point right up here. So it gives me that kind of triangular shape. So I did that. And I want to catch those edges. And out of that saturation point, again, not push them all the way to the end, but probably about 3/4 of the way.
Also, if anyone was here and entered the raffle before we crashed,
yeah, you need to enter it again.
And didn't enter when you came back because you didn't know, please type in exclamation point booty.
So see what I did there? I just kind of made that streak. It doesn't go all the way to the end. Our yellow ochre does, so we still got a little bit of highlight on the edges, but you just want, from the point of saturation, you want that bright highlight to peek out of there. And then we can do the same thing a little bit lighter on the top, not too much and not near as long.
Armin's, no, we did not crash again.
Just the first time.
We are still here.
Right, look at that shine. Right? Now we got shiny gold.
Ooh, shiny gold.
Hopefully, when we go to look at what you guys got happening, we can see something similar. Do the same thing right in here in the middle. Again, just literally right here along the center line and kind of a V. I want it to be a little bit wider at the top and then literally right along the center.
No, Sir Lathan, someone earlier had given it a funny name and we were just trying to remember what that was.
Bingo. That shine right down the center of that breastplate. And then right over here. Right here in the middle. Go. And a little bit right over here. Here we can grab this top edge. Brightening towards this corner. And then out of the corner down a little bit. Give it a little bit of glow on that top edge. And a little bit right in here. Bam.
Well, then art image, that's what you missed.
And a little bit over on this far corner here. And a little bit right on this edge right here. Just a hair. I want like a dot of color right there.
Hey, Drac.
And I'm going to go one more. And remember, I'm not painting everything tonight, guys. I just want to give everybody the tools so you can pay attention to the VOD, get through the weekend, and make everything pop with the golds. Get just that little bit of the edge up. It's not right. There we go. I actually pushed the paint right where I needed it. Almost like I'm good at this. No mistakes, happy accidents. Somebody said that once. Mike has a shirt, prove it. And just a little bit of edge there. Bit of edge on the end of these doodads. And then I want to get, oh god, this is going to be rough. I want to get these that. And this one over here as well. See where we're going? Kinda cool. I told you, trust me. A lot of people in the beginning are like, what the hell are you doing? This is gonna be metal? Not a chance. All right, now we want pure ivory. And then we'll be done for the night. All right, so pure ivory, model color ivory. Brain matter beige works. White if you're in a pinch and you don't have anything else. I like ivory for yellow golds because, as you can see, it just has a little bit of yellow to it, right? And doesn't push us up into that weird white that, you know, we're going to have the white as the highlights on the hair and things like that. So being able to stay without pushing our highlights into white here is going to be a real key.
Scientologist, I don't know that he uses, Scientologist said how often do you use the camera to help you see what you're doing. He's got special glasses that he's wearing.
I look over so I can see what you guys see. So when you see me going like over like this, I'm looking at my hand holding the model, but I mean, yeah, it looks better right here. All right, now with the pure ivory, this is going to be the brightest color we put on the gold. Okay, so I want to jump in right in the center here. And that little bitty, look at how intense that little bitty point of ivory becomes. I mean, this is the least amount of paint you will put on the model, and it will have one of the most dramatic effects. Because now each of those spots where we had saturation become just a little brighter. So I'm going to literally just a little dot of paint right in that area. Probably all I need right there. Down here, it's going to be right in this bottom of the triangle that we did, this shape here. That, look at what it made that shine do right here. Just, I mean, that's almost no paint at all. Look how much brighter it made that. Right.
It does. Pixel Cat said the gold with the blue looks really good.
Thank you.
I like it with that.
Yeah, I'm really stoked with it.
Looks good.
A little bit of dotting right up here.
Boshik, those are actually mine.
There.
I bought those glasses for one night when I was painting, and he stole them.
I did steal them. I had no idea I even needed them.
And guess what? I haven't painted since. Because I
joking.
can't see.
I was joking, and
Right.
I was like, give me those. And I put them on. I was like, oh, holy hell. Like, that's legit. I can actually see
Say
better.
hi. Bella. Say hi. What are you doing?
Okay. I forgot to get the little slits on this bottom crotch dangly thingy-majigger. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick.
Cock blocker.
Cock blocker, whatever we decided to call it.
Oops, head.
I was having to get over to the palette.
Oh, okay.
I'm not painting.
They were actually both standing here looking at me, Kevrab. No, these came from the grocery store. They're just old people reader glasses
Yeah,
that you get for like $10.
nothing fancy at all.
No. It's just a matter of getting another pair. Yeah, Ogre, we're gonna stick with cock blocker, I think. It's funnier.
There you go. You can see it from that angle. I just need to get the little bit of shine on the edge of those holy things.
Hey, Max Payne.
I feel like this one didn't get very much on it either. So I need to get-
Much wedding crap? Max, are you getting married?
Yep. I think this weekend, right?
Oh, wow.
Isn't that a thing, Max?
If so, then you definitely have much wedding crap going on and probably don't have time to be here. Which means that we appreciate it even more. Juria said it's like magic in front of my eyes. It
All right.
is magical
Bingo.
Magic. Getting married tomorrow. You
Congratulations.
should be in bed probably, getting some rest.
All right, we're
I've
getting a
heard
lot of
that's a big day.
saturation on it. Let me see if I can turn this down a little bit. Get my meaty arm out of the way there. There we go. Turn the lights down, because once you start putting that ivory on there, it starts popping so bright you can't tell what the hell's going on. But look at the chest plate right through the center and the little cock plate there, and then look at where we started, right? All we've got is yellow ochre and yellow RLM on these. And even these, when you didn't have the brighter colors, you could start to sort of feel that, okay, I can see the direction we're going, but look at just the littlest amount of paint of those brighter colors and look what it did. There is not much paint difference between these thigh panels and what you're seeing on these other plates that made them look like gold all of a sudden. Right? It's literally just controlling your highlights, being able to pull them into the smallest areas to get the most bang for your buck and work thin so they don't look like splotches of paint in very small places like you spilled paint in a droplet, that they blend in. You know, all of these edge highlights here in this bright, you know, ivory here are all blended because of the paint being so thin, right? And they just pop. Bam. You don't need a whole lot of it. Little bitty dot of brightness right here. Little bitty dot of brightness right in the center of the chest plate there. Look how when I keep the light shadowed on it, right, you can see how little paint has made such a huge difference on all of this. And you could take this to the nth degree. You could do more blends with it. We're working pretty fast, not using a tremendous amount of colors, but you could add more colors into it and spend tons of time doing it and add purples and do all sorts of crazy shading to it. This just gets us gold really quick and really, really genuine and sells it, right? I mean, that sells metallic right there. There's nobody that's going to argue that's going to say, nope, that looks like plastic, right? We get the shine, but it was all started with where we began the night, where we said, okay, what do we need, right? What do we need to do to pick where the bright spots are? And I showed you, take a photo of the model, see where it shines, and where you then start building up your brightest spots. Go through and we call that blocking it in. Take your first color and paint it where you need the bright spots to go. set that up correctly, and then follow that as your paint along for every other color. All the brighter colors as you move up the scale fit into those areas that you defined at the beginning, and just keep getting smaller, smaller, and smaller until you get, you know, a very shiny metallic feel to it. And you didn't have to do the green that we did. I just like the way the shadows look with the green in here. It's very subtle, but it keeps it from being, you know, an orangish gold like we do most of the time, because I really enjoy the orangish golds that we do. I feel like on miniatures they look really, really cool, right? So you've got stuff like this, right, where you get that kind of coppery feel. And this is more of a true gold that we've done on the right. More yellows, right, and fewer of the real warm tones to it. I mean, look at the difference between, I mean, that definitely sells as copper when you look at it right next to this.
Kev Rob, she left me a similar gift in my room.
Yeah, she did. She peed in here while I was in here. Peed like right behind me while I was sitting at the other computer, and I shoot her out and clean that one up quick, and that one doesn't smell, but I didn't catch this one. So there you go.
We'll fix it.
All right, so that should give you the good primer for getting through this on the weekend if you're painting this along at home. So hopefully I covered everything. Ask questions. If you're painting this, or if you're planning on catching up with the VODs over the weekend, ask questions now if you got anything. And, you know, we're going to go take a look over at WIP before the end of the night tonight and take a look at what everybody that's been painting this at home has been doing. Remember, this is a paint-along. 20 of the viewers out there have this exact model they bought from us so that they can be painting and doing what they want with it as well. And over the course of the weekend, I hope I have time to finish up more of my gold here. I've got to paint all of the other Bushido models for Sunday. So I literally have 5 more models that are sitting here in bare metal that I got to paint for the game on Sunday. So I'm not sure how much further I'll get on this guy. I'm not making any promises, but you know, we've given you enough tools now that hopefully you can see what you need to do on all the rest of these panels. We already spent the time showing you where all the bright colors go. Just start painting yourself in a corner. Brighter and brighter, smaller and smaller towards the bright edge that we've already set up, and you'll get it. If you want to leave, you know, all of your brightest ivory peaks off until the end, that's fine, and we can talk about that on Tuesday. But I feel like you've got all the tools to make that happen. And then starting on Tuesday, we're going to, I think, spend some time working on the reds real quick now that we've got the golds pumped to where we wanted. Remember, we didn't finish our reds because we needed to see the brightness of the gold versus the blue versus the red sells a lot of the entire composition top to bottom. So the brightness on the gold I'm really happy with right now. Now I can balance my reds and blues off of that. And then the wings, right? And then all we've got other than that are what I call details. We'll work on the bow next week as well. We've got some extra time, we'll do that. So we'll pull as many days into it. I want to get this guy as close to done with everybody as we can. We've still got to do beak and hands. That's going to be some orangey yellows that we work in that'll still play along with the gold, but be more like that coppery feel that we just got without being metallic. So a lot of real cool stuff still to do on this guy, but I'm really stoked. All of the leather bits and things like that we'll do as well. Looking really good. Happy, happy.
Good.
Happy, happy. Trust no one.
Hey, somebody likes us.
A fold? Nobody wants the real name.
Kala.
Kala, what's going on? Thank you for that follow. Ray Silver, can you show you the plates on the outstretched arm? Here. Just again, the same as this one, right? I didn't go with the brighter yellows on it yet, but the same as this, where you're pulling from the top of the plate to the center line. The center line is the brightest, and then modulate it across from there, right? I didn't go with the yellow RLM or even the yellow ochre on this. This is still just all golden brown, right? So pull from top to the center line, make the center line the brightest, and then go dark right under the center line, and then just back to your medium yellow tone down below. I'll have to finish all that over the weekend. Same with the thigh plates and obviously the belt and everything, the shins and all that. We left it in various states of disrepair so that I could make sure we got through the chest plate and the center there so you could see how everything works when you get it going right.
Can you show Boshep the bird snake thing?
The bird snake thing. Quetzalcoatl. I sure can, if I can find him. Where the hell is he? Big bird dude is here. How many models can I knock over getting Big Bird Dude out? This is Big Bird Dude. His wings are still not glued on, but this gives you a feel for what he will look like at the end of the day. Very nice and bright. Feels like ages we did this guy.
I know. It's a long time ago.
Right? Been forever.
Is that here or the old house?
This was, oh, good question. Old house. Yeah, old house. Standing desks at the old house, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, somebody likes us.
So that is Quetzalcoatl. One hit.
No.
I didn't say it. He didn't get me. Yeah, this is all part of the Dark Age Kukulkani army that we were doing, and that someday will actually probably get finished. Someday, maybe? Question mark? I don't know.
Bochek, do you follow him on Instagram? He's probably got pictures there.
Yeah, there's pictures on Instagram and all over the place. Here's the big dude they were painting. Again, doing kind of a more rustic, non-metallic kind of gold. These are like buried in the earth
golf
for
ball at the end of the game.
bajillions of years. But I'm really enjoying all of this. I love the color scheme. It's brighter than I usually do, so it turned out to be really happy with it. Our little bitty snake dude.
Brendan wants to know if we sell these little sculptures.
No. Well, we do sell some miniatures, but you can find them all over the place. It's just wargaming miniatures. And that, like these that I just showed are from a company called Cool Mini or Not. This is one of our channel partners. And we can get them for you. We run a store over at slowfusegaming.com. We have right now the Bushido miniatures. We try to sell the miniatures for the games that we are focused on right now. And right now we are doing Bushido. That's what the big bird guy that we're painting is from, right? This guy is from GCT Games. So I've got, on Sunday, I will have all these guys painted, and we will at least some base coats on them. And
I guess I know that we're not doing anything this weekend.
yeah, and then we're playing Bushido, actually playing through the game, showing off the rules and everything. So we've got the starter sets for all the Bushido factions up on the store right now. All the Bushido starter sets are up there. So you can pick up those if you enjoy Sunday, watch Sunday, and like the game. Then we've got all that to start with. But we generally don't try to sell a billion miniatures. We keep them in stock and do them in what are called our mystery boxes. So if you go on the store, you'll see there's some things called the Hobby Mystery Box. Those include cool miniatures that we think are neat to paint. We sell paints and brushes and all that stuff. That's our prime focus, is all the hobby gear. All right, let's do some giveaways. I feel like we've got one giveaway to do, and then we've got a treasure trove to do, because it is Friday night. So hang tight. If you don't win the first one is for a spin on the wheel or a pick on the wall for a gift certificate over to the store that you can use to buy anything you want. And then the next giveaway is our regular Friday giveaway, which is called the Treasure Trove. And that Treasure Trove giveaway is open to everybody. All you got to do is follow the channel. So if you're sitting in there at the back of the room, make sure you hit that follow button if you like what you're seeing, of course. No pressure. And we give away a starter set of paints. It's got 10 Army Painter paints. It's got a brush from Army Painter, a brush from us, our very own Baumwick Sable brushes. It's got the paints. It comes with 2 miniatures, 2 resin bases. All of this brought to you by our channel partners, the Army Painter, Cool Mini or Not, Elric's Hobbies, Micro Art Studios, and of course us at Slow Fuse Gaming. So we put that together, mail it anywhere in the world. Make sure you type !booty to get in on this first one, and then we will redo the raffle and start another one with whatever funny word we come up with. I forget what it's supposed to be already. And
we didn't pick one.
What's that?
We didn't pick one.
Oh, you did. You said it needed to be something funny,
Well,
and I forgot what it was.
I mean, it could be flange. It could be...
Flange was what I was thinking.
Yeah, it could be...
Yep, Armin's, that's
Armin,
exactly
that's
how
how
it
we
works.
do
We're
it.
going to do the first drawing right now, and then we're going to start the next one.
You know this.
We'll start the next one while we go through and do work in progress, so we see what everybody else has been doing while we've been streaming. So Jen over there is going to get her lovely drum roll box ready. She's read doodad. Oh, doodad is the word. That's right, doodad.
Use doodad.
All right, give me a drum roll. We got a winner coming. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't switch it. Okay, we're doing it anyway. There it is. It's Camo Specs.
Is Camo here?
Camo Specs. It says he's online because his name says Camo Specs is online. Camo Specs, one of our silver VIPs. Congratulations, my friend.
No way. Okay, he's here. Woo-hoo.
No way. Yes way. Camo Specs, congratulations. Hey, Does that get you out of the loser's lounge? I feel like that gets him out of the loser's lounge.
Turn in your keys.
Pixel Cat, we can't show the magic device that does drum rolls because then everybody will see that it also has a button that makes fart noises and you'll always want her to play the fart noises. So that's going to start happening. I've wondered if Jen farts, and now we have the answer. Proved right here live on stream. Hashtag rigged. All right, Camo Specs, you know the drill. You've been here long enough. I think you understand how this works.
Ray.
It's just you now. What? What? Camo Specs wants the wall, but first, my friend, you know the drill. You know what has to happen
It is
first.
not us.
For anybody that's sitting here wondering, we have this little thing that we call the awkward man stare.
Oh, Camo said let's do the board.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Camo first has to sit through the awkward man stare. He has to partake in the awkward man stare. So, Camo, clear out any small children, little pets.
There are a lot of new people.
Adults
here.
with pacemakers.
We got to give this warning.
Yeah.
That what you're about to see is not for the faint of heart.
Nor can it be controlled. It's a out of control kind of a sequence of events where we try to spread a little love across the internet from me to you, all of you.
But
and
if
Camo Specs,
if you are new,
maybe peer through your
cautious,
fingers.
just because
Yeah.
the first time, you're going to get sucked in, it's tough to look away.
Might be too much. We understand. We're not trying to hurt anybody here, though. Try to understand. This is all done in love.
Camo's mom is visiting from Seattle.
Camo's mom, are you prepared?
She's going to witness this awkward man.
I don't think she's
stare
ready.
at him. I don't know if
I don't think she's
I
ready.
don't know if I'm ready.
He got the wink. Yeah, everybody gets the wink. Boshek, I will give you a bonus butt touch. You got to be nice to me, though. That's the key. He said he wants the wall, so he gets the wall. That's the way this works. All right?
Wear sunglasses. This is disturbing.
You ask, you shall receive. That's just how we do here. All right? So, Camo Specs.
Camo's mom's laughing her ass off, he said.
Oh, really? I feel like that's okay. All right, Camo.
Zeb said switches to audio only. I love it. Art Image said that's a very boring awkward man stare.
I gotta stretch.
But
here.
Camo felt it was the best one ever because it was his.
So they're all different. So you never know what you're gonna get. We tried to sell number 2 the other night. We were really pushing hard for number 2.
Apophis said, even my dog looks like WTF is going on, human.
Yeah, right? Right? I feel like that's working then. The whole world is taking notice. So like I said, we tried to push out number 2 last time. Very hard to sell number 2. And nobody bit. As a matter of fact, he chose number 8, which he said was like having 4 number 2s. Which I feel like maybe he needs more fiber.
No, if
Or less.
If you have 4 number
Maybe it's
2s,
less
you
fiber.
need less fiber.
I don't know. Your mom's
Zeb-
picking the number. What is it
Zeb-
going to be?
Zeb said go in number 2 now.
What's it going to be? 8 is like 4 2s,
That's
says
true.
Real
Seattle
Science.
mom seems like she should go 12.
Mom says
Yeah,
12.
in true Seattle fashion.
Boy. I could sell you a somewhat dinged up, low mileage kind of number 10. I mean, I'm not trying to say not go 12, but 10. 10, right? Mom says 12? All right. Well, I apologize ahead of time, Mom. I have no idea what's behind these things, so you can't get mad at me. You can get mad at me, but I always blame Jen.
No.
25 buccarinos.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Camo Specs Online, $25 gift certificate will get sent out. Make sure to type !winner in the chat. Do it now. Do it now.
Not only did he steal the book, he stole my
I didn't steal
my pad of
anything.
paper. He only left me with help. That's it.
I did steal the pad, actually.
I know you did.
And I think I took the pen. Can you write on your hand?
I don't have anything to write with because you just said you took the pen.
If I give you a knife, can you write it in blood?
Paint it on your thumb.
Ooh, she'll write it in my blood. That's
right.
not good. Okay, Camo Specs.
25.
Camo Specs. Did somebody type winner? Did somebody type wiener in chat?
No.
Did this happen? !winner in chat so Camo knows where to go put us his email address. Do it. Do it now.
I did it.
Do it now.
Oh, Camo typed it and it didn't work.
Well, there you go. It hates you. Congratulations, Camo. Go ahead and give us your email address. We will send that out. You can click the link directly in the email address. You're in no rush to spend it. They last forever. It's store credit. So spend it whenever you want. Save up till brushes are back in stock. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We did get the notification that brushes have shipped. So hopefully we'll see them in the next 10 days. Good God, please, everyone, cross your fingers. And we'll get our brushes back in stock. I will start up. I'm going to cancel out now. And I'm going to do a new raffle.
Ogre, that
this one is
awesome.
Doodad.
Doodad.
Don't enter it yet. Raffle item is treasure trove.
They're going to start.
I know they always
They're
do.
going to start entering.
This one does not have VIP preferential treatment. Everybody has got the same Uno chance to win for treasure trove. You can only win one of these per year, so if you've already won one, please do not enter.
Night, Armin.
Please and thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Bagow! Take it easy, Armin. All right, we're going to run this for 15 minutes. Start. There you go. Doodad.
Doodad.
Make sure you're following.
Doodad.
If I pick you and it says you're not following, if it gives me the thumbs down, on to the next. So hit that follow. And we're going to take a look at some of what you guys is doing. But what you doing?
I did a smart thing. I opened up the whip gallery when we started. So I know what the last picture was in Kenny's stream. It's I Am Nurgle's Plague Marine.
I Am Nurgle's Plague Marine.
Yep.
So it's not this egg thing.
Not that. Nope, but it's the one
this?
next to the egg.
Nice. So this is our starting point. I feel like that's an egg here. I like whatever this is. It looks like it would be tactile and nice to touch. All right, what do we got here? This is Bulos using wooden eggs to hold minis for painting. I like it. I like the fact that I already cued into what this whole picture was about.
That's good.
Less about the mini, more about the egg, because this looks like it would be
New
fun to hold.
strategy.
I feel like this could
It
be like a
seems
big,
ergonomic.
yeah, like an
Like it would be
ergonomic
very
stress bee. I
comfortable.
feel like this would work.
That's actually a really cool idea.
I feel like that would
I'd
be
have
comfy.
to get some wooden eggs.
I dig it. Me likey. All right, here's some of our paint-along stuff. BVC Gaming. Looks like he got his good reds in, got all his browns set up for tonight. I'm anxious to see where you're going, but your grays are looking good. Yeah, you get that mid-tone gray and then mix it with white and do your thing. The hair's going to be perfect. Purples are looking really good. Man, you're nailing it. Nailing it. Very good.
And then old egg crates to hold it.
Light bulb. Light bulb.
Jeez.
I like your style, man. That's pretty cool.
No, that was
BVC?
Maui Blood that said that.
BVC, you're doing really well. Oh, who did?
Well,
That's
no,
teamwork then.
Yeah, totally teamwork.
I like it. I like it.
Teamwork makes the stream work.
I need to sit down. We are just having way too many glorious revelations. Write it down, except she has no pen. I stole her
I
pen.
don't have a pen.
I can't write that on anything. I don't have anything. Teamwork makes the stream work. Heard it here first.
Paint it on your thumb.
Teamwork makes the stream work is so hokey
So hokey.
that it would be awesome on a t-shirt with like puffy
Oh
iron-on
my
letters.
God. We have to make that.
Puffy iron-on letters.
You need
Teamwork
that. You
makes
need to
the
make
stream
yourself
work.
a hat
With
that
puffy
says
iron-on letters.
teamwork makes the stream work and wear it.
With googly eyes. So when I'm down painting, they get googly eyes, and
Oh, that-
teamwork makes the stream work.
We were supposed to get googly eyes last weekend.
Well, I blame you, because you know I can't be.
I can't. Make
I
a
can't be in
list
charge of
because
anything.
I don't have a pen.
BVC, this is awesome. Great use of highlight down here. You're really, I'm staring at his butt. Yes, that looks really good. Yeah, you're doing great, man.
Nice butt.
I feel like this might be Silvernail. Just a hunch, but I feel like, yep, Silvernail. About 90% done. I dig it. The drow, whatever you call it. Dark elves. I like it. I'm a fan. Very nice. I like it. Butt shot.
Booty.
More Silvernail.
Boobies.
Take a guess. Who dis? Silvernail. 90 million projects in process. All of these are like $40 million. Although I think she said earlier that one of them was like a Thai recast. So she's cheating. She's getting them cheaper. Silvernail, Laz Plaz. Oh, look at this. Dual plasma gun, Laz cannon. Is that a thing? Is that like a legal thing? Because I find that to be kind of awesome. I'm digging it. Razorback Laz Plaz. I dig it. Signs point to fail. Any advice on how to make the shin look more like dripping oxidation? Also, any other constructive criticism welcome. Let's zoom in because I feel like you've got some good weathering going on here. Let's get in here. Is this Mortarion? This is the 30K Mortarion, I feel like. Okay, so it looks like what you've taken a paint color right now that might be the, you'd have to let me know what paint color this is, right? It might be one of the GW Effects paints. Normally what I do when I'm going to do the dripping stuff is I'll start with a lighter color, believe it or not, like a lighter brown or almost like a flesh wash type color. I wouldn't use flesh wash because it won't stay where you need it, right? It's a GW technical paint. Okay, first off, I don't mind that stuff, but I think you need to block it in with something a little bit darker behind it, like an oil stain behind it. Because whenever you get like oil dripping, or if it's oxidation on, if it's oxidation, that really doesn't, that first starts out splotchy. And the reason you see runs in it is because it got wet, and just the water running along it loosens up all of that material on the rust and pulls it along with it. And you get those stains. So the first thing you would do if you had the rust stains spilling down is you would have patches of rust like up under here, up underneath this knee portion right here, or mid-calf, mid-shin portion, is you'd have like stippled in here a little bit of maybe a oily, rusty color. So you could go with kind of a real watered down black brown and just kind of use the brush and dink, 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 stipple it in right underneath here. Then go in over that with a little bit of a rusty orange color right up underneath, and then pull this color out of it very, very thin. You'll want to thin it down and pull it down and streak into the middle of it after you're done a little bit of that orange to really sell it. That would be the way to do it without going too far overboard, right? Because you're not trying to chip everything. But this just looks like spilled paint. That's the problem with these technical paints, is they look okay if you dip them around like rivets and things like that, but when you go into big, large, open surfaces, they don't sell themselves very well. You need to layer in those other colors behind it to get the dirt and the grime really sold. But I dig it. Great on all this. You got it. All you got to do is nail that and be perfect. I'm digging it. I really like this on the blade. Good work.
Silvernail had questions on her base.
On the base? Which one?
Oh, she said I'm kind of struggling on the base.
Oh, if you didn't put them on here, like on the pictures, then yeah, I don't normally. What are you talking? Which pick? Silvernail. The dark elf one? This one? Because the other one doesn't have any work done on the base. What are you struggling with? Let me know what you're feeling or not feeling with it, and I'll help you. It's in the description? No, it's not. I've been reading the description. Yeah, there's been nothing in her descriptions. That's why I didn't answer it. The Drow live in the Underdark where there is radiation effects and you can't get the green. Is that what you're thinking? I would basically maybe... Oh, good God. Windows wants to install stuff right now.
No.
How can I say remind me never? 3 days, snooze. Get out of here, Windows. I would... I like the green that you got going. I don't see a lot of problem with it, so you'd have to kind of tell me, do you want it to glow more? If you want it to kind of have more of a glow effect on the grays, I would work a little bit brighter color onto your grays first. Do a little bit of dry brushing of a brighter gray on this if that's where you want to keep it. And that way you got a little bit of peak for your OSL to grab onto. Right now, if you paint OSL on it, because the grays are so flat, right, the gray looks like just one color. You may have a dark gray and a mid-tone gray on there, but it doesn't sell itself as having layers. So I would go in with a little bit lighter gray, not too light, and just give yourself a little bit more to pull that texture out. And then you could go in and glaze in a darker green than what you're doing. Don't make the mistake of using this bright green to layer in your colors for like a glow. Use a much darker green first and kind of feather it out from all of these cuts in the stone, right? Urug, welcome. Thank you for that follow. You'll take the darker green and just kind of blend it out from these edges slowly. Don't go too far. Obviously, the further you take it, the brighter it makes this light feel. But because all of these are inside cracks, they don't glow a whole lot to the outside. They glow in down deep. So you really just want to kind of darken up the edges here. I know that sounds weird, but take a darker green, darken up around the edges, feather that into the gray, and then take the brightest green you've got and do a little bit of edging. So you'll go in and catch the edge of say, this crack right here and pull a little bitty thin line of the bright green right over that dark green glaze.
She said she used glow-in-the-dark paint, and the gray is 4 tones.
Oh. Yeah. Your tones are too close together on your grays. If there's 4 paints there, you use paints that I can see like 2 colors. So that doesn't mean you didn't use 4. But it means you're not going hard enough in transitioning your colors. They're all too close together. Either that, no, and I can't blame your camera because the rest of this looks great. I can tell what's going on everywhere else, right? And maybe that's what I'm seeing in your general paint style, is that, because a lot of times I'll say, hey, this is great. These look like great base colors. And you'll say, oh, there's like 4 reds here, right? But there's not really a highlight that I can peek out. It all looks very smooth and very gradual, like 2 color blends on most of what you do. And it may be that you're using colors that are so very close together in value that I'm not seeing the transitions in color to be able to appreciate them through a photo. So again, that's one of your trust your gut where you're at, right? And if it looks exactly the way you want it where you're at, then don't change it just based on what I'm seeing. In the photo, I'm not seeing this texture brought out enough. Most of what I'm seeing in the texture is due to the shadows that the sculpt causes. And I'd like to see just in various areas here a little bit brighter, but you don't have to. I'm saying that would help sell this OSL a little bit more, because when you come with the darker green around the outer edge, it will pick up and be lighter over the edges of the rock where you had highlight. Glow-in-the-dark paint, I don't know anything about. I don't use stuff like that, but I can see the color here. If you were to glaze over it with the darker green, that might affect how it glows, if that's a feature that which I assume that's what you wanted. I don't use those kind of I don't want to call them gimmick paints, but they're kind of like gimmick paints. I don't ever care what the model looks like in the dark. But, I still think that if you are not happy with the way the green looks, because it looks good to me, I think it's just missing a little bit of glow around the edges. And if you've watched me do any of the OSL videos that I do, it's literally about starting dark. Start with a dark green glaze around the edges and then work that up in brightness till the peak edge of an opening has just a bright highlight on it. Yeah, the skin and the reds are all like 4 to 5 tones. I feel like that, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just saying I think you're not, when you're using 4 to 5 reds, all of those reds are very, very similar, right? Because right now, I can't see but maybe 2. That doesn't mean you're not using them, and I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying that if you're taking the time to use 4 to 5 reds, you may want to make sure that they have a little bit more split in between them and work on blending together so that eventually when you get to your highlight, it stands out a little bit more so that people can appreciate all that work, because you're spending a lot of effort if you've got 5 colors on there that you're blending together. And I'm not seeing all of that transition here. Like, I'm not seeing a variance between the red on the leg and the red on the arm as far as like overall shading and stuff. It looks great. It looks very smooth. But if you're spending the time to do 5 layers, I would try to maybe unbalance the way those reds are. Go brighter on one and darker at the other end, and then let the ones in between. That's how we work, you know, and in miniature especially, because you want to bring out that contrast.
Somebody likes us.
Even though these are miniatures, but they're technically very large, right? Suki, thank you so much for the follow. Right? So I'm not trying to say bad things to you, first off, right? I don't want this to be a negative thing that we're saying. I just think that I want everybody, for the time spent, to get more out of what they're doing. That's what we try to teach around here. And so as I'm looking at your models, I'm always thinking, wow, you've done really, really good blends with those reds, but you're telling me those are 4 to 5 reds. I feel like go brighter with some of your reds or go darker with them for shadows a little bit more so that I see all that time that you've spent, right? Yeah, because your models, one of the things that I've always said is your colors are super, super smooth, right? No brush strokes, really, really good layering done. I just can't appreciate all the reds. I see like a bright red here on the outside of the butt cheek, and then all this red looks the same. But again, trust your gut, because all I'm seeing is your photo. All right, let's move. I think where were we at? Ding, ding, ding.
Did that one.
Oh, here's Morty again.
No, that was the same one you just did.
Okay.
This one.
Oh, we got a butt shot.
Oh.
Man, I really dig this model. Not mad at this at all. The Forge World models I feel like are really good. Sometimes I feel like they got detail on top of detail just for it, but this model's not really bad. It doesn't have like a lot of quote-unquote doodads all over him. Oh, this is the base. I like it. Nice rust. Do you think the colors will work together from this to this? Yeah. Because here, you've got some rust on the backpack, which I think is really cool. Didn't intend to take, oh, no sweat, Silvernail. No, I feel like that's great. I feel like that's great. The cape, you had to throw the cape out. It didn't fit. Signs point to fail. I mean, I'm digging all of this, and the rust colors that you have are very, very pinpoint and small. If you had done a lot of rust on the backpack to where it kind of overtook it, and I felt like there was less silver, more rust, then I think this would be too much. But because here you've got these nice rust layers built up, it'll just kind of bring the model together through this kind of symbiotic relationship with the little rivets and drips and things you got up here. But the rest of the model I think fits great, right? Because you've got kind of a cool neutral tone on him with the bone, and I feel like it'll look really good on this with a dark base. I would not push anything on this base too bright. So if you do this metallic, and as you're doing this copper metallic stuff, don't push it to super bright highlights, because then it'll start to look too much. Was that it?
No.
I feel like that can't be it. I'm going to do a refresh.
Yeah. So is it?
I don't feel like I refreshed at the beginning since the blue screen happened. No. All right,
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah. We got tons more. All right.
Oh, geez.
So, trees! Sev7. Sev7 finished forest fire woodland. These are awesome, man. If you haven't been following along, Sev7's been doing his Sylvaneth in this kind of burned out effect where it looks like the inside of the trees are smoldering and some of them are half alive, half dead. It's just amazing. I really dig the whole burnt out feel of it. I hadn't seen or recognized people doing this before, and I dig the smoldering look of it. It's a hard thing to tackle, you know, and I feel like you've sold it pretty well. When I look at these, I don't need you to tell me what's going on. I kind of get it. And keeping things in these kind of dull oranges is really cool for letting me know that it's smoldering and not intended to be like a big everything's on fire kind of a deal. I really dig them. Plus these GW trees are awesome. They're never in stock anywhere. I've literally tried to buy them from distribution about 100 times. Yeah, perfect. See, setting him up here, pulling the model into the ground with a little bit of that work on the feet, pulling the soot and the dirt up onto him works really well. I really like this. Yeah.
That looks good.
Again, this, though, when you're using this, don't let this be the final. If this is going to be the coat of technical paint that you turn, if you do, just like we talked about on the Shin, don't let it stand by itself. You could try taking Agrax Earthshade and go right over the top of this verdigris, right, and see what that looks like and see if you like that. Do it on these gears where you've got a nice setup because it's not going to hurt anything to do it. If you've got Agrax or you've got a nice kind of brown, dirty wash or glaze, try that over the top of this verdigris. I think you'll really like what it does. And then you can come back in and stipple in some oranges and oily blacks and things like that and get a lot of work out of this. Right? I dig it. This is going to be a great model. All right, Houdini 7, I'm liking the golds. I'm liking the golds. I can catch right here. You've got that nice line at the parting of the breastplate, or that peak of the breastplate here. Maybe a little bright on the top. I don't feel like I've got a lot of shadow here on the side. It looks good here. Maybe a little bit of darkness back on the corner. It's just going to make this top plate look a lot brighter, but that's not bad. It's not like it's shadowed from anything other than the hair. I just left a little bit of darkness here. It also might be that the camera is saturating it out here because it looks like it's kind of blurred and out of focus right there too. Same thing here, nice and bright, falls off into darkness there. Your transitions are looking good. This centerpiece here looks tits. I really like this, right? Once you start pushing this up to just pure ivory, right? Just spots of it right up here, and then a little bit on the edge. This is really sold. This is great. How you feeling about it, Houdini? Because it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what you think. Do you feel like you're seeing what you set out to see? Because I dig it. I think you're doing great. You've already started tackling the shins and everything. I feel like the one thing that you're going to notice is that you're going to want those dark spots, right? You've got them right here, right? You've got them here. And these are the plates that look the best. Here, you don't have as much dark across this top one, so it starts losing a little bit of the metallic. Nice. Yeah.
So he's loving it.
Dude, I think you're killing it, Houdini. Just realize that what's making it in the non-metallic is always how dark you go versus how bright you go. And you can stand to go brighter on these, but it's going to be just with that ivory. And it doesn't take a lot of paint, right? You're going to just do a spot of ivory here, if you haven't already, or white, or whatever you got to drive to your brightest saturation point. You know, a little bit along the edge on these, and that's going to make these dark spots look even darker. Then you're going to find yourself on this plate wanting a little bit more darkness because you only have it right here. You're going to want a little bit in this corner. You can take it and glaze that back in, or leave it for next time and not worry about it on this model. It doesn't make this model look bad or any. This looks awesome, right? But just think about that.
Science Point fail.
Because see right up here, hey, take it easy, Science Point. Thanks for hanging with us. This arm plate right up here, even from this angle, looks awesome because, again, you've got the bright spot and then you've got the dark line right underneath it. And that's what gives you that metallic feel because this dark spot stops being a shadow and starts being a reflection when it sits right against something bright. If it sits too far away from the bright spot, it starts just being a shadow, at which point your thing just starts looking like painted yellow. So that's why I'm saying you probably want a little bit more shadow up here someplace. Right? But really, really good work, man. Digging it. Oh, hell yeah, Maui Blood. Look at this.
That looks great.
Think your top chest needs to be toned down, but what do we think? You know, it needs to be the brightest, but just like I said to Houdini 7, you've got a little bit more darkness following along this rim, maybe a little bit up here by the hair. That top corner is what sells this piece, right? As I'm looking at mine, right? Let's flip back over to mine real quick, and I'll show you, because I feel like you guys have both done kind of the same thing here, where you've lost this darkness right up in this top corner, and it makes my focus of my brightness is right here in the center, and then it kind of just easily goes out and transitions to the darkness. So I don't pick up necessarily that big reflection point because I don't have a lot of space to work with, but I still sell the sheen, and then it allows each of these individual little inserts to have their own shine, which also helps sell it. That shine on those little ovals only works because they're in darkness behind them. So they're framed in that mid-tone to darkness, and then that little pop of brightness on them really gives the whole breastplate that metallic feel. So you can play with that. So yeah, if you're feeling it, you're in that maybe push it a little darker. The problem with the way that we're painting here is that it's going to be easier to repaint that whole piece, right? To just set it up again, paint it again. Don't paint the pieces below it because you guys are killing it on that. But maybe just repaint that top piece and work on bringing just a little bit more darkness into that side over towards our right, his left on that, right? But great job, both. Houdini 7, Maui Blood, you guys are knocking it out of the park. Look at this. This chest plate looks fantastic right here. Yours with the darkness here, your darkness is a little bit broader than mine. It just sells it as being dirtier. right? All you've done is still metal, but because you got more darkness, it's dirtier, not quite as shiny. And that's great. Like grit and grime in between the plates. I love it, right? I love it.
We're not seeing it anymore.
Oh, sorry. I got to move it back over. Bam. Right? So just a little bit more darkness in here in the stomach. Oh, now I've lost my mouse again for whatever reason. Let me do this and then go back. All of this right here with a little bit more darkness just sells it as being dirty and gritty, which I love. And then brightness out here. Great job. Great job. Real Science, not as cool as a non-metallic metal, but you're working on getting nice gradients. Pretty happy with this. Dude, everything is as cool as everything else when you're happy with it. I'm just here to say, it doesn't matter what technique you're using. I have just as much fun painting leather as I do painting non-metallic metal or whatever the hell it is we're doing. Faces, it doesn't matter to me. This I like a lot. I'm liking your blue fade here. Right? I'm digging the gradient. Depending on what your final outcome is, like I said, I wouldn't push this any further until you start painting all the other details, because I like what I'm seeing, and don't worry about going brighter or darker until you get the rest of this done. See how bright you're going to go with the trim, how it sits against this, because a lot of times the model will tell you what it needs. Paint this outside trim, and then the blue will either it'll become flat because maybe you go too bright with the outer trim, and so this doesn't sell as having much of a fade to it. So you might have to pump it up a little brighter, pump it down a little darker. But this is great. Great start. Really dig it. Houdini 7 again. Maybe getting the hang of this now. Yeah, I'm telling you. You definitely are. Definitely are. And it's all about feel. And I know that sounds funny. Like people say, oh, feel, blah, blah, blah. That's an emotional BS. No, it really is. It is. It's all about feel. It's how you are not only feeling it with the physical aspects, your hands and the brush and getting the feel down to get the paint on the model correctly, but also how your head is starting to wrap around the brightness and the shadows and why. And then the how starts coming after the why I'm doing it. And that's what I try to teach more than anything. Why am I doing this? Right? Because if you just look at a picture, I see a million people out there on the internet, look at a picture, oh my God, that's so awesome, what colors did you use? If I tell you the 32 colors I use, can you go paint it like I do?
Yeah.
No! Stop asking what colors people use and start asking, how did you transition from the bright to the dull on that gold? Or how did you transition those blues? Like, how many colors did you use? Not what colors did you use? Because I think a lot of people think that, when you're done here, oh man, what color is this? I'm like, well, it's 7 colors. Oh, well, what are they? And then you tell them, and then they can't do anything with those 7 colors because they don't have any idea how they were applied. It's all about how the why comes before the how. And I think a lot of times we forget that. We think there's like some secret, ingredient that makes it all come together. When if we just look at why we do things, then you can apply it to lots of different avenues with lots of different colors, and you get that control and start figuring it out in your brain. Oh, if I want to do this and I wanted to make this silver, I see that he told me grays up to whites would do the same thing, so I'll just take the same technique, paint it silver, I'm waiting for one of you guys to blow my mind and not have gold and be doing this in silver or chrome right now. Viking Teabagger. Viking Teabagger, for one of his first non-metallic metal things that he did, painted a chrome freaking Inquisitor, right? And I was like, oh, this is going to hurt, And we went through a few revisions with him, got him, running on the why you're doing it and why this isn't sitting well in your brain and all that, and he knocked it out of the park. And now he doesn't even talk to us anymore. Now he just goes off and paints amazing models. It's freaking awesome. Real Science again. Also started base coat the leathers and furs. Yeah, I'm digging it. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, keep me posted on this because I really dig where you're going with it. Hey, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Hey, we got the lights spreading out now onto the dirt. This is
cool.
really selling it now. Great job. Great job. Last time, the bridge was all that had the OSL on it, and we didn't have any of it spilling out onto the land, so it was hard to tell. It just looked like the bridge was painted a different color. This right now is fantastic. Brightness right under the lamps and then spilling out a little darker. This is what I was trying to tell the Silvernail earlier, is when you're doing this OSL, notice how the yellow out further away from the lamp is darker. Right? A lot of times people make the mistake of taking bright yellow and trying to feather it out and then going to white in here, and it makes it look like a spotlight, like a very particular light. Whereas the glow, the warm glow you want from that irradiated green or these light bulbs that are 10 feet up in the air or whatever, tends to get darker as it goes out and blends, just feathers into the environment. This is awesome. I like this a lot.
It's Agent Arrows, and
Yep.
he said I spilled some of the yellow glow onto the ground surrounding the bridge, toned it down in real life, but on camera it looks brighter than it really is.
Okay, great. Yeah, I like it is right now anyway. Like I said, you always have a hard time selling this because the rest of your board looks like midday, so the lamps are going to be tough to control, but I like it. The story you're telling is fantastic, and it works. For Armies on Parade, awesome. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. I love it.
That's cool.
I love it. Ray Silver, yellow ochre level done. All right, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I feel like you did too. You overtook some of your darkness up here. Remember, on this chest plate, we were working from the center out to the outside. So darker on this edge, brighter in the middle, because it sits on top. So it's not like these, right? But I like it. Yep, I'm seeing the modulated highlights down low. This one looks like you're good, bright in the center. Again, maybe losing a little bit of darkness out here, but you're not to your bright layers yet. So this is going to handle itself. Just drag your next layers in to where you're really only painting brightness between these 3 indentions, right? Starting on the outside of this one, and it's only this area in here that starts brightening up. Then this will become much darker as you go. So this one fixes itself. This one you may, before you go too much further, take some of your golden brown back, or whatever you're using, beastie brown, and maybe glaze it here to the outside edge. Go left to right with your brush strokes, starting in this area right here, and glaze beastie brown back out to the outside to darken it up, and then go back with the yellow ochre and glaze back towards the center again. You can even this out real quick. Same with over here, a little darker out to the outside and brighter right in here towards the center. Leaving the shadow for the strap, of course. Good stuff, though. You guys are nailing it. Yep, here's that modulated highlight again. We got the bright peak on the left side of the plate, and then a little bit of darkness. Probably want to push a little more darkness here. Right? Again, I feel like maybe... Well, so here's the deal. You have to have that darkness. It doesn't have to be huge, but you're going to want to find a little bit more here. So you could... With the burnt umber, you could layer a little bit more burnt umber just right along that line and feather it back, right? But I feel like you're probably going to want to just maybe paint this back with the burnt umber, this side, and then relayer it in. It'll be quick because it's small. Because you haven't left yourself enough dark space right here on the opposite side to where when you do your bright highlight on the inside of this plate, it won't sit up with enough, contrast to this side over here. So always be thinking about that. You want to have that burnt umber darkness right here on the bottom side of this arm plate. Even if it's just a thin sliver of it. It doesn't have to be a thick band of it. It can just be a thin sliver. But you make sure that you've got that pow darkness and that pow brightness right next to it. That's what makes it metal. If you don't get that, it's just painted colors. Right? But very nice. You've got all the trimmings are right. I feel like you just may want to bump in a little bit more darkness before you go starting layering up more brightness on it, so that you don't get too far before you have to go back and maybe do something else. This belt, fantastic. This is great. See how you've got this really great darkness here, and then very quickly transition into your brightness. So you can tell this is a saturation shine. That all of this is the same color. It fades into darkness over here, and then this light hits it here, and it just radiates. This is perfect. Yep, same thing here. Just a little more darkness. Blend it a little bit easier. And so the problem that I'm seeing here is that you're probably having an issue with blending in such a tight space. So the only way to get better at that is practice. Legit, just practice, right? So whenever because, okay, guys, let's talk about this. This is less than 1/4 of an inch that he's blending in right here. From this side, this middle portion of this plate to this edge of this plate is not even 1/4 of an inch here. So when you're blending, you're literally blending in millimeters. And so you've got to really, really train yourself to blend without taking brush strokes, because the brush stroke will make too much paint apply to the model. You've got to blend with just barely touching the tip of the brush to the model. And you're when I call it a stroke, it's literally stippling. Like you're moving the brush a fraction of an inch to get that blend in. And that will leave your space for more darkness. You'll blend back your other colors to where at the very end you're literally only putting paint on, 1/2 millimeter on the edge, right? Yeah, I think okay, that makes sense. No, the Beastie Brown is going to be fine, man. It literally will be fine. It'll be a little more orange, not a problem, right? Literally not even a problem. The Beastie Brown to the Golden Brown is just a little more orange. You could add a little bit of yellow to the Beastie Brown and cure that. It's not going to matter. It's just a little more orange. Your overall model may not be as yellow as my gold. No biggie. We're looking for technique. We're looking for it to give you that metallic sheen. The gold, as you've seen with other stuff that we've done, looks fine. It looks great. It's just on this particular model, it's not what I wanted for the model I was painting. Doesn't mean it does anything for you. It's still a great undercoat for gold. Use it. Own it. Don't be worried about it. Right? Holy hell, Magnus Wing Whip. I'm digging this. The hell iridescent crazy paint are we using here? I like this a lot. This is like color change paint or something. It's just like those crazy Too Fast, Too Furious cars. I really like this. Whose is this? I got no name on it. So I'm gonna say Jen painted it.
Yay! I'm really good.
This is awesome. I really like this color, this kind of paint. Chromatics. Sensima, ILNP Chromatics. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I usually don't, like I said, I don't use these. I call them gimmick paints, not in a bad way, but I guess that is kind of a bad term. Just because I can't control what they do at the end, but they are fun as hell to look at when they're laying on the model, man. That's awesome. That sells what you want in Magnus and Zinch and the change, because as you move this model, all those colors are going to change. It's going to be awesome. I like that.
Right, Ray? I'm good.
I like that. Looks really good. Great choice for like Zinch. Oh, there we go. Fate Weaver too. Just a different kind of the same paint, huh? I dig this. This is just kind of like almost like Nurgle colors. Yeah, that stuff really comes alive, doesn't it? I dig it. Fun to look at, man. Great job. Good color choices. As far as advice, I don't know. I mean, I'm liking the glow on the runes. Make sure that you feather this glow out. You want to make sure that it doesn't look like you can see the edges of it. It needs to just disappear into the color of the wings. And because they're wings, I feel like you can push it a little bit further to kind of blend where you've got these spots going. Because wings are going to be, the feathers are going to be kind of translucent anyway. So if there really was a rune that was glowing on them, it would light like up, if you've ever edge lit glass, it would light like the whole feather pretty much. So you can push this a little further. I wouldn't do the whole thing, but I would push this darker blue that you're doing the glow with, which is a good choice, by the way. Maybe go a shade darker and a lot thinner and push it out to blend those edges a bit so that you're really selling that they're glowing. They look great. And then maybe go in and then just figure out what you're comfortable with your edging. I see edging on these feathers though, so maybe that's, I can't tell with this crazy paint. Let me know if you've done any edging on it. It's hard, right? Because that's one of the reasons why I don't like to use those kind of paints, because as you move them, the light plays funny. So if you go and you edge them and you pick a color to edge with, if you move the model, it may be the wrong color because as the colors shift and all. So I don't know that I would say do much else, because the paint that you've used is going to do the work for you to sell the kind of weird oil slick, iridescence of the wings. So I think just on the runes, just push that blue a little bit. Oh, a little bit of chrome edging? Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like I'm seeing just a little bit of bright edging, so the chrome is probably a perfect choice, because that's going to be fine for any way that the color shifts on it. Other than that, I think you're good. Just blend out these glows a little bit further so you don't see the edge. Right? I'm always talking about how paint can look like paint or it can look like an effect, and the effect part comes from not being able to see where the paint started and stopped. So if you can find a way to just blend them to where it disappears, do it over a short area, do it over a big area, whatever you're comfortable with, and that'll really pick up the sell point on that. Great work though. Keep us posted. I want to see where you get with this. All right, I'll do one more refresh and then we are done for the evening.
Have to redo the treasure trove drawing.
Why? Redo it?
We haven't done the treasure trove drawing yet.
I thought you said redo.
No, I said after we do.
Oh, okay. I thought you said have to
Hey,
redo.
somebody
I was
likes
like,
us.
what?
After
I ain't
we
redoing nothing.
do.
138151337. That's something elite. What's going on? Welcome. Thank you for that follow. All right, I did a refresh. Nobody else is up there, so we are pushing out of here. We are going to give away the Friday treasure trove real quick. And, yep. And then we're out of here. We're going to go have a weekend. We'll see you on Sunday as we do our thing. But I am really, really happy with where we got here and super happy with what you guys took that we were doing and applied to your own model. I will try to get more work done on the thigh plates and stuff like that so that we can talk about it on Tuesday so that we can move forward for all the people that are painting along with us and start into wings and details, feathers, beaks, hands, blah, blah, bow, all the other stuff we got to do. But looking good. I'm digging this model a lot. Should be a lot of fun to finish up. K.O. Doki. We got to pick another winner. Maui, man, I'm loving it too. I love these paint-alongs. You guys, you doing amazing work. Number one. Scientologist, thank you. Archiving, Secret Reference Site. Yeah, these VODs for the paint-alongs will always go up on YouTube. It just I usually wait till they're done, and then I'll take the 4 or 5 episodes and throw them up on YouTube unedited. So you will have to fight through all the Twitch nonsense that we talk, the goofiness and bad jokes. But it'll always be archived on YouTube for that. So the last one that we did, which was the Arena Rex Tribune, is up there. We also did some non-metallic metals on that one. I think the next guy we are going to have to do silver non-metallics because everybody's clamoring for that. So we'll see. All right. Awesome. So let's get a drum day roll. Roll day drum. Kalini!
Kalini!
Holy hell, Kalini. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Kalini takes home this week's treasure trove. Again, our treasure trove is brought to you by all of our channel partners, Army Painter, Micro Art Studios, Cool Mini or Not, Elric's Hobbies. All these guys give us product that we can put into a cool starter box for people who may have friends they want to get into the hobby. We've had a lot of those stories. We love those. Hey, I won your starter box. I gave it to my cousin. Now they're painting models and loving it. That's awesome. Gave it to my girlfriend, gave it to my boyfriend, gave it to my mother. We don't care where it goes. We're just trying to spread the hobby love and make sure that people who may be on the fence or not able to afford paints or do the fun stuff that they see us doing, we've been sending boxes out every single week. So by the end of the year, 52, well, more than 52, because we gave away more at the end of last year. So close to 60 of these things we would have put out there for starter paint set, miniatures, everything you need except for primer and glue to get going in the hobby. So lots of fun. Kalini, congratulations. Exclamation point winner in chat. Kalini, make sure you fill out the entire form. We need your address, email, all that good stuff. And I think I'll be putting those together after the weekend. I think we're backlogged 2 weeks of winners that haven't gotten theirs yet, so there'll be 3 that need to go out. So hopefully those will go out right after the weekend. So thank you guys so much, and thanks to all of our partners for allowing us to do that. It's been a lot of fun this year doing that, so that's awesome.
Make sure you write that down.
Awesome. Oh, I gotta write it down.
Max Payne, have a great day tomorrow. Congratulations.
Congrats, Max.
You'll have to put some wedding pictures in the whip gallery
for that ball and
next
chain.
time.
Hope she's not listening.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Kalini, treasure.
Woo woo.
Who's that follow?
Oh, there's a line across the top.
Some panda. It went away too quick. Thank you for the follow.
No.
Hey, somebody likes
No
us.
pasa nada.
No pasa nada.
And D-Man, what's going on? Thank you guys so much for the follows. Much appreciated for hanging with us, everybody. I really love our Fridays. We go off the rails a little bit, but we get a lot of really cool stuff done. I have a lot of fun. Hope you guys do too.
Zuluzaji.
Well, huzzah, huzzah.
Zuluzaji,
Throw back
3
my
months in a
legs and
row.
pollute my britches with delight.
Thank you, my friend. So tonight, just being able to work on the non-metallic golds, got that knocked out of the park on at least the chest plate and the tabard here. I'll work to get all the rest of the golds worked up before we meet again on Tuesday. Remember, Sunday, Mike, Uncle Touchy, the man, the myth, the legend, will be here in the studio with us playing Bushido. So we're going to walk you through the rules for these guys. I'm playing the Tengu. He's playing the Ito clan, snake dudes. Birds like to eat snakes, I heard. So hopefully that's the way Sunday goes. I don't know if that's the way Sunday's going to go. I feel like Mike has a grudge match. He's trying to kill me at every game we play now and doing a very good job of it. So we'll be playing Bushido, going through the rules. We play these games as noobs. So it literally is opening up the rule book, throwing dice, having fun, learning the game, and then making our review at the end of it on what we think about people getting into it, availability, pricing, the hobby aspect. How we already know the models are cool. We're sitting here painting one in this, and it's just amazing. Great model. And then the gameplay and the rule set. So we've already done quite a few of those games. They're all up on our YouTube channel, Slowfuse Gaming, over there. I think our last one was Relic Blade, a fantastic game. So we'll see how Bushido stacks up against it, and Arena Rex for the skirmish level stuff that we really love around here. So make sure to set aside some time to either join us at 12 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, or be able to watch the VOD whenever you can. We'll post it up to YouTube, and it'll also be here on Twitch for you to catch up on and see what you like about the game. If you do like the game, remember we've got all of the starter sets up on the store at slowfusegaming.com. They're pretty cheap. I think they're under $50 per starter set. So to get into the game is not really expensive. You get 5 or 6. I think one of the factions actually has like 7 miniatures in theirs because it's like little zombie dudes. So each one's a little bit different, but lots and lots of fun, especially if you like kind of mystical, crazy, ancient Japanese kind of stuff like birds with bows and samurai swords, which I'm a fan of. So great hanging with you guys all this week. Thanks for taking part in the paint-along. We'll be continuing it on Tuesday, like I said, and have a great weekend. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. Nothing else to say. We love you guys. Take it easy and have a great weekend. Adios.